guys, welcome to Gamer with Grandma. All right,
Bill said
this is what we're into.
Potential large
tornado just to the southwest of Burlington. That's confirmed by a storm spotter in Kane County.
So that's south of 90 and north of 88.
Can you put the velocity up again, Bill? Let's see how that little couplet's there, if that's possible.
Yeah.
Look at that thing, though. Can you imagine the rain that thing's kicking out? You said what?
It was over. Doppler estimated over 5 inches per hour, and it's been in the
look at that.
Okay, here we go. Right here, Tom.
Wow.
I'm zooming in. So if you're in Burlington right now, get inside. At this, this is textbook, Tom. Correct?
It is, isn't it, Demetrius? That real light green right next to the red. And look, there's even a level of pink there. This is a sign of extreme circulation going on. You got it right there. So that's where we got to watch, and that is a great Doppler indication of a tornado right there.
I'm going to put it in motion just so we can see the last. This is just 1 hour, so here we are as it moves through.
Yeah,
making sure you guys can see my face.
Wow. Yeah, it is getting stronger. If you are in Burlington, and especially just south, I'm going to try to zoom in so we can see some more areas, see if some names pop up here.
Yeah.
Pretty rural, that area. So
is.
you're not going to get the larger towns. We have it set to pick up. But, you know, okay, so I'm just going to go out here.
Yeah.
And like you said, Virgil, certainly inside. Hampshire or Hampshire, inside. Plato, Campton Hills, it is time to seek shelter because this line is pressing to the southeast. I think, Bill, what's that going about?
About 20 miles per hour.
20 miles per hour. Slow-moving storm, but pressing, I believe it's east-southeast at about 20 miles per hour.
Boy, that is beautiful country out there. You see it. That's farm country out there. You know, that's where, my gosh, that's why we're the breadbasket of America. We grow a lot of corn out there in western Kane County and DeKalb County. It's pretty country. And so I hope folks on our farms out there
I just hope it's not coming toward me and my son.
TDS.
With this one here.
And NWS radar, yes.
So we are now looking into Kane County, western Kane County. The line that you see here is portions of eastern DeKalb County, but I would still say that rotation goes back there.
Yep.
South of 90, well south of 90, north of 88, right in the Burlington area.
The tornado hit the ground.
East at about 20 miles per hour. Well-defined rotation on our velocity scan. At least one report of a large tornado
so far.
Yeah, and it would be just south of Burlington. But
southwest of Burlington.
let's see how big. Tom, I'm gonna just track how big this is, and maybe you can tell us about this area of rotation, the size of this.
6 miles across.
So it's over here. You got enough time to jump in the shower.
That would be that entire so-called mesocyclone, that little rotating.
Yeah, I'll let them watch this. I'll be right back.
Thunderstorm cluster out there. I'll tell you one thing, that we have Dr. Van Gensini out there. And for folks unfamiliar with Dr. Gensini, he's got quite a reputation in the meteorological world. He is Mr. Tornado and has done some amazing work on the climatology of tornadoes and the trends in tornadoes. And he is a professor out at Northern Illinois University. So this is the kind of set of eyes you want out there in the field looking at things, although we have a lot of very talented people out there doing the storm chasing because they know what they're looking at and they can read the sky and give us ground truth on what we're seeing off these Doppler scans, which give us kind of remote sensing of where the storms are. But having somebody on the ground saying, hey, there actually is a large tornado out there, boy, you can't beat it. That's some rain coming down there too.
I'm going to do a tracker on this. Now I know that if you're in Burlington, if you're in Hampshire, it's been coming down in your area for a while. But I just want to do a tracker on the heaviest part of the storm there. So 537 North Lebanon, Hampshire by about 545, and Allen's Corners, all south of I-90. By about 549. It's pressing to the east, I believe it's 20 miles per hour. Let me get all this stuff off the screen. It's pressing to the east at about 20 miles per hour. There may be a tornado. You know, there's certainly some rotation in there.
Yeah.
But as we look at the line, Tom, this kind of, you know, it just kind of strikes me as one of those situations where it's really important for us to let folks know that, you know, you can't necessarily see these things come at you because if you're all in this area, western Kane County, it's just been raining really hard for the last hour or so.
Can you believe that? You know, Demetrius, that's an interesting point. Bill, can you widen out just a bit, and we'll show where this is relative to Chicago. There you see it right there. So this is out in northern DeKalb, northern King County. That'd be about 40 miles, 40 to 50 miles
we're like
west
right here,
northwest
I
of
think.
the Loop.
I think.
There it is, yeah. And coming east-southeast at about 20 miles an hour. So, but what's interesting is we've started tracking these oranges and yellows and reds, meaning intense rainfall. And Demetrius, you've said that we're getting Doppler scans.
So DeKalb is
estimates
up
of 5
here.
inches per hour rainfall rates. That's incredible. I mean, that's like the rain that comes down in a hurricane. And you get under that.
Yeah, my son's okay to take a shower right now.
And you get rainfalls like we've been seeing from clusters earlier in the day.
I
up
told him to
Boone,
hurry.
Winnebago, and McHenry counties. And we saw yesterday out in the Fox Valley around King County, they kind of fell apart before they got into the city. But there were some places that had almost an inch of rain.
I'm going to try something here, Tom.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to work. This is our Doppler estimated precipitation.
Oh, yeah.
If it comes up here, it is.
Guys, if
It
we
is.
could
There it is.
Look at that.
Look at that. Yeah, that's nice.
5+ inches
Nice.
across portions of our northern viewing area.
Yep.
3+ inches that would. Oh, I think the red is 5. So 5, close to 5.
Stunning.
But now as we look down here, it's really starting to grow. We got a 3+.
Yeah.
South of Genoa.
That's that's almost 4 funnel clouds,
the heavy rain
guys.
component that's accompanying this.
And you know what's interesting, Demetrius? That area, that red and orange area from Rockford through Marengo and McHenry, those folks time and again have watched these rains come in there. You know, for a long time, up to a week or two ago, that area was considered an extreme drought. We'd had adequate rains on a couple of occasions south of I-80 and I-88, but up north they couldn't buy a drop of rain. And yet here, all of a sudden, the heavens have opened up. And not only is there a tornado risk, but there's flooding going on there. I was sent some pictures from folks showing the flooding out in the Palatine area today. And Steve, colleague here at WGN, who's
Yeah,
out
'cause
in
we're-
Arlington Heights,
We're over here.
it says drought no more out in Arlington Heights, or at least there's been some pretty healthy rain. Steve reported 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts yesterday with the storms that went through out there in the northwest suburbs. And we sitting in the city,
hoping
looked
we
at
don't
these
get any
dark
of it.
clouds, these ominous
There's
looking skies up
also
to the north and west.
a tornado
Well, folks out west
warning
are getting hammered, but nothing like what's
in,
going on up through the northern counties today. And this
Romeville.
cluster that is
Guys,
looking
if we
out
could
toward.
just really briefly take Max 1, just give you an idea of where these storms are headed. We've got
Yeah.
a time of arrival here real quick. Just that we're just extrapolating that line that's produced the tornado out in Kane County, western Kane County, near Burlington. If you live in any of these communities here, North Plato, Elgin, Carpentersville, Hanover, you need to take cover now because
Yes,
these storms are certainly have a history of producing tornadoes and can, of course, produce additional tornadoes at any point. So to the lowest interior of your home, and we're certainly going to keep you posted.
Let's go to Max 1, take it full. This is from the National Weather Service. Another confirmed tornado in our area. This at 5:32, so that's a while ago. A confirmed tornado located near Malta or 7 miles northeast of Rochelle. Boy, those people have had enough.
Yeah.
Moving east at about 25 miles per hour. Confirmed tornado. National Weather Service has, let's go to Max 2. The National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning, another tornado warning for DeKalb County, right in this area that I'm circling here.
Yep.
And that is in effect until 6:15. So this is a new tornado warning, confirmed tornado. And boy, this
City of DeKalb.
the closest city is DeKalb, and I'll tell you, let's go to the radar. Tom, this thing, if confirmed, this one has been confirmed, and would that be the kind of the southern section there, right up along DeKalb, a confirmed tornado with something that looks,
Yeah,
that weak, quite honestly.
Got a little hook there on the reflectivity data here, which can be a proxy for a tornado. And it'd be interesting to look at the velocity field on this. You know what else would be interesting, Bill, is if we could look at WeatherBug out there.
You know what? If we could briefly go over to Max 1, I've got the DeKalb camera queued up, and
Oh,
you
good.
can see the torrential rain. And that's the other concern here is that some of these tornadoes might be rain wrapped.
Oh
Yeah.
no, those are
If
the
you go to
worst.
that real quick, I can show our viewers here
Here, I can do it
from
on
out
two.
of DeKalb.
I can do it on two. Just let's keep us on two here.
Yeah.
So as we stated before, tornado warning in effect for DeKalb County until 6:15. There are two tornado warnings, excuse me. One for kind of northern DeKalb, one for central DeKalb until 6:15. There is a tornado warning for Kane County.
Yeah,
which
with it
expires
being
at
wrapped with
6:15
rain,
also.
man, that
I think our
sucks.
number is up to 3
'Cause
confirmed
people just
tornadoes, kind of
see
around
the
this
rain and
area,
they're
around
like, "Oh,
this
it's just
Wisconsin,
rain."
and two in DeKalb County.
Yeah,
Please,
and
God,
look at
let
the
everybody
visibility
take
drop there.
shelter.
You know, that raises a legitimate
Most people
point,
hear
and that
tornado
is,
warning,
are
they
we
hear
getting
the
to
sirens
point
go
that,
off, and they're
this
like,
tornado will wrap itself
I've
in
never
rain
had a
and hard to
tornado
see.
hit, so
You
I'm
know,
just
when
going to
we
go
did
back
that
to
storm
bed.
chase out in
Worst
Oklahoma and
mistake
Kansas
you
a
could
couple
do.
years ago, it was fascinating. We
You take
pulled over to
shelter
look at
and
this
you
little
pray.
tornado roping
A
out,
lot.
thought it was done. Started on the road again, and all of a sudden we look back behind us, and there's a multiple vortex tornado coming. And within 20 minutes of the time that thing was chasing us down the highway, so you could see multiple vortices rotating around it, multiple funnels. And then with time, the circulation of that thunderstorm complex literally wrapped the rain around it, and you didn't see the tornado anymore, even though there was a tornado in there. So, and those are the insidious storms. I mean, ask anybody in Plainfield who was out that day what they saw coming at them in August 28, 1990, was what looked to be a cloud extending down to the surface. So you add another layer of complication
It's
to
coming right
spotting
at
and
us,
tracking
guys.
these storms from the ground.
It's going to hit
and this
us
is why
head
radar
on.
becomes so helpful. When you wrap it in rain and can't see it any longer.
And Tom, just to kind of chronicle how serious this situation is, if we can take Max 1 really quickly, I want to show this thing. I want to get right into DeKalb County. Confirmed tornado in DeKalb County by a trained spotter. Numerous reports of tornado with visible debris on the ground.
Wow.
There. That is in, I believe that's DeKalb County, so that tornado warning goes until 6:15. Let's go to Max 2 if we can really quickly. I just want to show you how quickly this thing intensified. So here we are now. I'm just going to go back just about 1 hour. An hour ago, this thing was barely a blip on the radar as you get a little bit south of Byron.
Yeah.
And look at how it just blew up right in portions of DeKalb County, right up along 88 is where that tornado, where a trained spotter has said that he or she has seen a tornado right in this area. If you're watching us from DeKalb, it is beyond time. It's overtime. It's time to get to where you need to be if a strong storm comes in.
Hey,
your
we're
area.
still
Hopefully
under
you talk about
tornado
this with
watch.
your family, interior room, away from windows, in the lowest level of your home.
And you know, that
And we're
cluster
not in
that's going through
Wheaton.
northern Kane County, if I were up in Elgin,
Oh, we're not in. Oops. We're
even,
not in
you know, St. Charles,
Wheaton.
areas like that, along the Fox River out there. Boy, I'd be watching that stuff like a hawk. That looks like some mean rain. And you know what else is interesting? See that elongated stretch of yellow and orange? That's where it's raining gangbusters. I mean, that's like torrential, tropical storm, hurricane type rain. And that elongated stretch is paralleling the path of movement. And that's where you get this so-called training event, where the rain just keeps coming and coming and coming for an extended period of time. And so we ought to have some blockbuster rain numbers out of that area. There it is. What was the Doppler estimate?
The Doppler estimate there, and I'm going for the some of the heavier sections there. So almost 3 inches per hour.
Wow.
And going back an hour, it's been raining in that county, in the northern portion of DeKalb County. You know, I'm going all the way, so I'd say about here. So to 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock is when it really started. The heavy rain moved in. They've been in it for over an hour. And if any of these rainfall rates are even close to ground true, we're going to have some issues, obviously, with flooding.
Yeah, and I thought your posting the Doppler estimated rainfall was really interesting.
If we could briefly go
Demetrius.
to Max 1, I'll just give people an idea on
I
this
opened my
new tornado
window.
warning that was
I mean,
issued
my
in
blinds,
DeKalb.
so
We'll
I
just
can
give you an
see,
idea of
just
the
in case.
locations where potentially it could be impacting. Here it is for DeKalb, 545, Sycamore, 556. Virgil, 617, Elburn, 628, Campton Hills, 638. Anywhere along that path should be taking cover immediately.
Hey, Bill, can you punch up the storm track function
Sure.
This would show us where the circulation is. One of the amazing things about these Doppler radar sites is that they run the data through a series of computer algorithms, and they'll show you where there's rotation. Now that's moving, so it's hard to kind of follow that, but you can see the heavier cells marked right there. It's funny, they're not showing a circulation, and yet clearly we've seen that on the velocity
Well, and
field.
we do have multiple reports of a tornado
Oh, yeah.
south of Kentland and Kingston, and that's in DeKalb County. This was at 4:52, so not very long ago. Actually, about an hour ago. So I don't. They just issued this at 5:40. So multiple reports of a tornado south of Kentland and Kingston. That area under a tornado warning until 6:15.
And look at that. That complex is about ready to start intersecting northwest Cook County, and it's moving toward northwest DuPage County in that area. And we've got a pretty good blockbuster group of cells up there in Lake County, Illinois, as well. So, boy, there's a lot of action going on in these storms right here.
Tom, can you tell us a little bit about, these are thunderstorms, but what's up with the environment right now? Where
Yeah.
where all of them are, well, not all of them, but a great deal of them seem to be creating spin-ups.
Well, it's interesting. The elements you look for to predict tornadoes and to put a watch out. One, you want the air buoyant and warm, and you want it loaded with moisture because there's latent heat energy in that humidity. It takes energy to change water into water vapor, and then that energy is called latent heat energy. It floats in the atmosphere, and when you start making clouds, it releases that
Okay,
energy.
my
It's the
alarm's going
energy
off.
that
Hold
drives
on.
hurricanes, but it also drives storms like these. And then you want the buoyancy, the energy in the atmosphere, the moisture, and then you want crisscrossing winds with height. So we've got like a southwest wind coming in at the lower levels, and then the winds aloft are cutting in like this. So that's called directional shear. And so what happens is,
I
when
kinda
the
wanna
air
go outside
starts
and
in the
see.
lower atmosphere, when the winds are blowing southwest to rise, it as a column of air rises, it hits these northwest winds and it begins to rotate.
I'm so tempted to go outside
And that's
and
how you
look.
get thunderstorms to rotate and turn into
I'll be right
supersonic
back.
storms. And those storms are capable then of producing microbursts, downbursts, tornadoes. The energy levels, the CAPE values we showed you earlier, are such that we're well in the territory where these storms are capable of producing tornadic circulations. So we're probably going to see these storms continue to spin up some active weather, and the expectation is that the atmosphere will remain conducive for thunderstorm development through 10 o'clock tonight. Thus, the expiration time on the tornado watch, which is this big red box right here. This is the area in which tornadoes may occur up through about 10 o'clock tonight. So here's the line. You'll see how they'll cancel the watch as the line continues eastward because the atmosphere behind it will stabilize. But that keeps the whole of the city of Chicago. It keeps Will County, Kankakee County, Lake County in Indiana, all these areas, Kendall and Grundy counties, all in Lee and Ogle counties, all at risk for severe weather. And that's the situation we find ourselves with tonight. It's going to stay hot and humid tomorrow, so we could do it again tomorrow. Got a couple days where these storms could occur again.
And while he's doing that, while Bill's doing a tracker there,
Yes.
So there is a tornado warning for Kane County. I don't know if they've extended this to 6:30, but it is until 6:30. A thunderstorm, this is radar indicated, capable of producing a tornado located near Pingree Grove or near Campton Hills. It was moving east at 20 miles per hour. This is at 5:42, so just about 3 minutes ago.
Demetrius, you mentioned earlier that there were reports from folks on the ground out there that there was some debris scattered across the ground.
There is damage reported near Burlington. I do have, let's take Max 2 while we're doing this. I do have a couple of, they are showing up on our storm reports.
Yeah, there we go.
And here we go into these areas. Now, obviously, a number of these, like for instance, this one here that you see near Janesville, that was a funnel cloud report, then a tornado report, then 2 tornado reports.
Yeah.
So some of these could be duplicates. Obviously, they're not, confirmed. But McHenry into McHenry County, I can click on that one and just kind of see what's the deal with that one. And that was a tornado. Possible tornado near Blake Road and Richmond Road in McHenry County. Now I'm going back down towards Genoa and that is tornado south of Kentland. This is one we're talking about, south of Kentland and Kingston, and that's at 4:52. So that report has come in from the National Weather Service. And these down here, Tom, they could be the same. You know,
Sure.
I don't know, you know, but this is 4:32, so that would have been that's probably a different one. But 4:32 southeast of Esmond. This is probably the same one here. No, it's a completely different time. Time of report 5:28. Numerous reports of small tornado visible debris on the ground in Esmond. So
Interesting.
it does look like we're having some. It doesn't look like we're having powerful tornadoes, but as you mentioned before, you know, all it takes is one to come near you, and that'll do it.
And you know, Demetrius, those blue dots with the rain drops through them, that's where that rain occurred this morning. So there's kind of a pulsating nature to some of these severe weather outbreaks, where you get a band of thunderstorms to blow up, then it'll kind of fade, and then often the outflow from those storms leads to the genesis of another set of storms. And when you stand back and look at the reports in the totality after the event passes, you see that the storms have kind of pulsed tornadoes or severe attributes as they make their way across an area. So that's quite interesting. There's a high wind report. You know, Bill, can we get some of the WeatherBug rain and wind gust numbers out of that? Oh, this is interesting. Wind damage, large tree limb down. Boy, 1 to 2 feet in diameter. That is a large tree.
That may have been, yes, I don't know. That may have been, we'll have to look at that one because the time on it says 5:55. So
Yeah.
we're not there yet.
No.
Hopefully. Hey, Tom, we do have there's a report from a TV station, Monroe Center, which is in Ogle County.
Yes.
That'd
That'd be out of the Rockford market. Yeah.
Funnel cloud reported. They have another funnel cloud. So that just kind of chronicles how this is all building from the west to the south and headed to the east at this time.
Hey, Bill, I saw you did the slice through. Is that available? Because
Yeah.
it would be very interesting to slice through these storms that we've got traipsing across the counties.
We could take a quick shot here on Max
Yeah.
1, and I can show, first off, there's the storms.
Yeah.
And then here we'll show you just how tall they are.
Look at that. Wow. Isn't that
It's
the way to,
extraordinary.
isn't that the way to look at a storm complex? If you really,
Yeah.
and look at that red corridor right in there. This thing, imagine getting under that, the amount of rain that comes down, but look at the tops of these things. These isoplyths are altitude in tens of thousands of feet. So there's 20,000 feet, 30,000 feet, 40,000. Tops are going up here. And you've got the atmosphere saturated, as viewed from the side by the Doppler, all the way from, oh gosh, close to 45,000 feet down to the surface. Little wonder you can't see any light through that when you get that kind of column of moisture. And when you get under it, you also see why when a storm complex comes through, figure this thing's moving in that direction, and you're sitting right there. As this storm moves over you, you get bursts of rainfall of varying intensities, and that's why you get under towers that are taller than the ones around it, and therefore producing more rain. And the reason the rain is occurring in concentrated fashion there is this storm is sweeping moisture from all around, lifting it and cooling it, and then you get rain to fall out of that column right there. You know, I've often said weather forecasting is a matter of saying, hey, is there any moisture in the air? And two, is there a way to cool it? Well, a thunderstorm does all that in one little compact package. It has a lot of moisture, it has a means of lifting the air, and then it has this inflow of air that keeps the rains going vigorously. And that's kind of interesting. These icons mark radar Doppler indicated heavier cells right there. And the horns here kind of show you what they're doing is the radar has calculated the previous movement of the storm up to the point of observation, and then it extrapolates how it will move and at the speed that it's been moving. And so that's how when you hear a warning goes out to 10:15, or in this case, 5:45, something like that, what's being done there is forecasters at the Weather Service are taking Doppler movement information and figuring out how long it'll take for that storm to traverse the area they put under the warning, and they run the warning out that far into the future. So it's a pretty cool process.
So Tom, right now we have, if we can go to Max 2 just really quickly, I want to just kind of reset here. We have a tornado warning in effect for Kane County.
Right there?
Right in there.
Yep.
And on the Doppler, there we go on Max 2. Tom, I'm going to switch this to velocity. First, let me put it right here so you can see where this cell is. It's, you know, all across. It covers northern Kane County, south of I-90. Now, when we go to velocity, I'm going to switch this over, folks. Take a look at this, Tom.
Wow.
Right in that area there.
Yeah.
Right in that area there.
There it is. Boy, that has that thing bearing down on Plato. Isn't that something?
South Elgin, Plato, headed to the east at, I think that was about 20 miles per hour.
20 miles an hour, right.
Right in this area there.
That's
you know,
something.
Yeah, that's pretty clear, right? There's something rotating. It looks like there's something rotating there. We don't know if it's a tornado. As you mentioned, you're still, I don't know,
Yeah.
20, 30 miles away from the radar site, but or maybe more. But boy, there's something rotating there, it appears to be.
That's for sure. You know, that's the kind of cell, back when we had Mike Hammernick with us, we called him Mr. Velocity. And Mike would sit in the back of the radar looking at, in the office, looking at the radar, and you'd hear him say, uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, uh-oh. And of course, all of us would immediately go and say, we knew that was not a good sign. When Mike Hammernick went, uh-oh, you said, uh-oh, that was trouble. And indeed, that would be the kind of signature that we just showed you there with that bright green next to the bright red, that so-called velocity couplet. That's where the tornado, and that would be what Mike would be looking at as we do right here.
Here's a tracker on it. Tom, every once in a while, he'd say, oh, we'd say, what? He'd say, you know, tornado in Montana.
I know.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah. Tornado in Spain. You know, and
he was that into it.
I know. I used to tell him with that little, he had a little $10 radar app that he'd walk around with. And I said, you know, we've got $1 million Doppler radars here, and you've got a $10 app, and you're going, uh-oh, and properly identifying the storms where they are. And that was our Mike Hammernick, who we miss on days like this, and many other days as well.
Hanover 559, Wayne 606. This is that cell that we were talking about that we think is showing some pretty good rotation. It's a tornado warning cell. Schaumburg, so we're getting into Cook County, or getting, you know, Schaumburg 613, Elk Grove 629, and into York at 639. Looks like it's going to clip western Cook County into portions of DuPage County very soon.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, gosh, we've got you running around there like a crazy man, but is there any chance you can get one of the 3-kilometer HRRR model stuff, and can we just look at the next couple of hours?
I got it. I'm on it right now. So it's on Max 2. Let's leave it right here, guys.
Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Now, so this gives you an idea. This is one of our so-called convective allowing models. That means these models can predict thunderstorms. And so as we step through time here, which is what these models do, they put all the atmospheric elements together and show us where the rain ought to come out of this. Look at that. That's a pretty busy, and look at that, 8:30 tonight. Still coming through Cook County, and then it's in our southern suburbs. That's down in Will County, Kankakee County, southern Kendall and Grundy counties, and then ultimately into LaSalle and Iroquois counties. And then you folks in northwest Indiana get in on that too. That's pretty amazing. That's what a vigorous situation we've got going tonight.
So we still have that tornado watch that remains in effect for, you know, basically the entire viewing area until 10 p.m. Tornado warning still for DeKalb County until 6:15. DeKalb and Kane County until I believe 6:30. There are numerous ones. Let's just say 6:30. The possible reports of damage, tornado damage south of Kentland and Kingston. We could be looking at possibly, I think it's 2 confirmed tornadoes that we've had today, one that's unconfirmed, and the truth is one that could be, you know, occurring, or in this case, it's warned on across portions of northern Kane
Well, you know,
County
it's
here.
interesting too, Demetrius. Do you see how that tornado warning now is bumping up against the border of Cook and DuPage counties?
Yes.
I would fully expect that warning will probably extend it into the Cook and DuPage County areas here within the next half hour.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right, Bill. Yeah. And you can see the orientation, the way the pretty well gives you an idea of the direction of movement of these storms right
And
there.
that warning right there goes to 6:30. So,
Right.
you know, hitting western DuPage and Cook County at about 6:30.
Campton Hills, Elgin, South Elgin, St. Charles. So we're into and across the Fox Valley now with this warning, in effect until, as you say, 6:30, Demetrius, yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's go. I'm going to show the velocity while Bill kind of gets things together. Tom, you can let us know what you see here. We're going to look into Kane. Oops, I still got that.
Wow.
I kind of gave it away, but we're going to look at right into Kane County here.
Yeah.
And watch this area of rotation. I'm going to put it in we're going to see the last 15 minutes and watch this move right through there. You see
What's
that?
incredible
Look at
is
that.
that's maintaining strength.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's still a respectable looking circulation. If there's a tornado under that, and we have reason to believe there may be, that's not good. By the way, look at the area just north of DeKalb. There's another couplet showing up right there.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And that's, you know, the area right there.
And I believe that area is under a tornado warning until 6:15 for that cell. Hey,
Yeah.
I think that's, sorry about that, viewers. I think that's, Bill, I think that phone is, so I think that's, that is an area that is tornado warned. I think we just woke everybody up.
Yeah, yeah. We just wanted to make sure everybody was still with us, you know, just, yeah. I know, that'll do it. Oh, my. Yeah.
There we go. All right, so here's in Kane County, an area that has that tornado warning in effect and where we have seen some well-defined rotation.
Yep.
Folks in Elgin should be inside. St. Charles inside. Western Cook County, Schaumburg, Bloomingdale, as you get into DuPage County, Wayne, you know, anywhere north of the Eisenhower, and now beginning to kind of cross the Kennedy.
Yep.
Is where we're starting to see these problems.
And it looks like it's kind of in the area out there near West Chicago. And coming into, we ought to be hearing from Steve Kahn out in Arlington Heights pretty soon. Steve is always wonderful about reporting the wind gusts out his way and the rainfall. So I suspect Steve is looking out his window to the west and northwest and saying, uh-oh, you know, here it comes. So, yeah. And it looks, by the same token, like that cluster up in Lake County is barreling its way toward Lake Forest and areas.
This has
Waukegan.
really had some.
Look at that.
It looked like it was going to die 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
But now look, Liberty.
Can we get our new Waukegan Harbor camera up? And be interesting to see what's going on up there. And you know what else I wonder is what our, oh gosh, what's the Three Oaks Recreation Area camera? Because that sits beneath. There you go, folks. A little
inside.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm doing one thing, Bill's doing another.
You're watching the sausage being made here on the air, you know? That's what our menu looks like from WeatherBug. By the way, that WeatherBug tool, you know, that's exclusive to this station, and it is amazing. We all have amazing Doppler radar stuff. But to have ground truth that's provided by that set of almost 190 weather stations, which have anemometers, thermometers, and in many cases cameras with them, is just amazing to watch what's really going on under the radar echoes that we see or the satellite pictures. But yeah, look at that. We're now extrapolating right up to the Lake Michigan shoreline.
Right to Chicago. Now, the National Weather Service says in Kane County, they have thunderstorm wind damage. Reports of damage to a structure along Plank Road and near Eagle Road. Possible tornado from that one in Kane County. That's in that's Burlington. Excuse me. That's Burlington in Kane County, an area that is under a tornado warning, and obviously has this powerful cell which is moving through. So that's you know that's basically I think right under where the heaviest part of the cell is, right into this area. Plato, Elgin, South Elgin, those areas as it continues to press east. I'm going to put on a 1-hour lapse here just so you can kind of get an idea because it's really zoomed in. But there it is.
Okay, guys, we're in this area right here.
South Elgin, and here we go. This
So,
is at the Calvin.
I'm listening to the weather radio. That's why I have my mic muted. I went out and looked, and
You know, and
there's
it's
nothing
interesting,
yet.
and
There's
what
some
Bill
really
did
dark
for those
clouds
that are
coming.
just joining us. Here we are near the 1-year anniversary of that horrendous derecho that went roaring across 770 miles of terrain last August 10th. It's a year ago tomorrow. Produced 15 tornadoes in the Chicago area, $11.5 billion of damage. It's the most expensive thunderstorm complex ever to traverse the United States. And it was, in terms of billion-dollar disasters last year, only Hurricane Laura down on the Gulf Coast was produced more damage than that derecho did. That thing produced 140-mile-an-hour winds in Cedar Rapids. It damaged 90% of the homes in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where they're still recovering from it. Destroyed 1,000 homes out there, and then roared into the Chicago area with a gust that went up to 73 miles an hour at Midway, 69 at O'Hare. And I think we had a WeatherBug reading. Bill, you can correct me on this.
We had an 85-mile-per-hour gust for
in Lincoln Park, right?
WeatherBug. Yes, exactly.
And there were 12,000 trees knocked down by that storm a year ago tomorrow, just in the city of Chicago, which is pretty extraordinary. So you can see we're in the heart of what has been of late severe weather season. Fortunately, this thing tonight, as horrible as some of these storms are for the areas that are affected most directly, it doesn't hold a candle to what happened a year ago tomorrow, but few events do.
Tom, I'm zooming in. I think my mic's on. I'm zooming in. Now, this new warning is for southern DeKalb County here. So this is a new, a completely new warning, completely different cell. We're looking at southern DeKalb County. It's in effect until 6:45. This is a new warning, newly issued by the National Weather Service. It is in effect until 6:45. DeKalb, Lee, Paw Paw, and Victor, some areas that are possibly going to get hit by this cell. I believe it's Doppler indicated. I don't think that it's a spotter. It is radar indicated rotation. So this is a new cell time. And you know, this doesn't look. I mean, when you just, you know, if I'm just walking into the office and I see this thing moving through, I'm not really worried about this. Is there something going on where they're intensifying very quickly, but they aren't showing a lot of high DBZ, just a not very strong signal.
No, they don't have these mammoth orange and red and yellow blobs and all. Like, for instance, what's going toward Mendota right now. Look at that thing.
Oh yeah, look at that thing. Now there is a warning for that one also, but yeah, look at that one. That one. What do you think, Bill? That one looks more significant than the one that just got the warning in DeKalb County, but it's Doppler indicated, rotation.
Yeah. Be interesting to look at the velocity again. Here we go.
You read my, whoops.
Oh, look at this. This is our model forecast again, just to show that we're not done with this yet. There's 7:30 tonight. As we step forward through time, we'll go to 9 o'clock. Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah. Can you imagine the water that's going to come out of that? Boy, I'll tell you, folks, turn off the garden hoses. You don't need them tonight, at least in this area.
When you see precipitable water values approaching 3 inches, that's about as high as, I think you'll agree, Tom, it's about as high as they get in this part of the country.
It is.
Okay, so here's your velocity.
Wow, look at that thing west of Elgin.
Yeah.
Again, what we're looking at, for folks at home, saying, what are they looking at? We're looking at where the bright red is next to the bright green. That's a place in which we're getting a circulation indicator. Yeah, exactly. That's what's going on there. So you've got the red areas are moving over. That's a sign of wind moving away from the radar. The green areas are areas where it's moving toward the radar, which is down in Romeoville in this case. We can pull any one of the radars up in this area, but we've got Romeoville we're working with right now, the Doppler radar run by the Weather Service there. And then there's another couplet north of DeKalb where you got green juxtaposition with red. That's another circulation, and that's the tornado warning we were just talking about. And that thing looks like it's passing dangerously close to Sycamore. Probably on the path it's on would pass, you would presume, just south of Sycamore. And then we were watching that one down by Mendota. I don't know what the circulation looks like on that. We're not seeing much of a couplet there.
But a lot of wind, right?
Yeah, yeah, a lot of wind.
Yeah, it's going to come through. And You're going to hear it and see it. Now, there's also this new warning, and we're on velocity mode. I can maybe I'll change it back so viewers can. So there's also a warning that that has just been issued, a tornado warning for southern DeKalb County for this line here. And Doppler is, you know, a couple minutes behind what's actually occurring. So this may have intensified rapidly. I mean, it looks like
It's headed right toward us,
Yeah, this is
guys.
supposed to the
It's
east
headed
now.
right toward
I
us.
don't have a time on that. Or
20 miles per hour.
20, 25 miles per hour. While we just get everything set up, I'm going to do a quick tracker on this just to kind of give folks an idea. If you are in southern DeKalb County, it's certainly time to get inside. This thing is moving toward the east there, so that puts it toward Victor at 6:17, Salmonock by about 6:26, and Sandwich by 6:32. So they just continue to march east, and everything is getting warned on at this time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think you reach the point where, you know, when these storms have such a rich history and we're still in a very warm period of the day, the assumption is made, given all of the model forecasts of atmospheric energy, that these things can't be written off yet. We're not into that period of nighttime cooling where these things can lose their oomph. They continue marching along and remain vigorous. Bill, is there a chance of doing a slice through on that cell coming into northwest Cook County now?
Max
Sure.
1.
I would imagine flights are on hold at O'Hare Field, or about to be if they aren't, because that's coming right into northwestern Cook County right up there. Oh yeah, this is
50,000 feet tall into the atmosphere on
Yeah.
this cell that's approaching northwest Cook County.
if we can switch to that other computer, that other source there, guys, there it is. Look at that. Whoa. And remember, you know, what you watch is trends in lightning occurrence and trends in cloud tops. When the clouds start collapsing, that's a sign that the updrafts producing the storms are weakening, and therefore the storms will weaken. But here you can see you've got tops still poking above 40,000, up into the range of 45,000 feet. And so that remains a very vigorous cluster of storms. And that's what's headed right toward, oh boy, there's a wider view. I think we're catching on that left side, that's the DeKalb County
That's correct.
cell right there. So
Right.
you got the red and orange area, that's the big cumulonimbus complex over southern DeKalb County that's tornado warned. And then we also have the storms right there. This is Kane
we have
County.
a confirmed funnel cloud in South Elgin, by the way, right now. Just thought of,
Very good.
yeah,
That's not good.
It's
but
amazing
good to
that they
know
can
it.
see anything. And I mean, you know, I mean, it's
right.
It is coming down pretty hard at that time. So it was Tom, you mentioned before, those storms are about they're not far away from O'Hare. I'm trying to get my computer.
No, they're not.
They're about 9 miles away from O'Hare. At
9.
least that's where the front edge of the rain. I'd say that the heavier stuff is a little bit more, probably back to about 11 miles away, pressing to the east at 20 miles per hour. So what are we talking, a half hour or so?
Yeah.
You'll be looking at some trouble at O'Hare.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Can you imagine the folks on approach to O'Hare right now? I'll bet it's bumping around a little bit up there. And everybody's been told to put their seatbelts on and just kind of, no doubt, been told quietly that, you know, there are some storms in the area that are being watched. And they're very careful about that. The aviation folks watch that very, very carefully.
So we're looking at a tornado warning that's still in effect, a number of them actually. DeKalb County until 6:45, that's southern DeKalb County. Also northern DeKalb County until 6:15, although things, well, that looks pretty significant there. Also into, well, we got a new one for DeKalb County, tornado warning until 7 p.m. That's what you heard that ping for, and this, I bet it's confirmed. No, it's radar indicated again. Tornado warning, let's see, northeastern DeKalb County, west central Kane County in northeastern Illinois. It's 6:08. Is that correct? Yeah, 6:08. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Sycamore, moving east at 25 miles per hour. So this is the one that we've been looking at closely. Train weather spotters report a rotating wall cloud with this storm.
Wow. Hey, you know what we haven't done for a while, and Bill, I see you queuing up the warnings. That'd probably be a good time to show those again. In this depiction, the red areas are the tornado warnings. The yellow area is the tornado watch. And if we widen out a little bit, you'll get an idea how these warnings, where they sit relative to Chicago, and how much of the area is involved in these things right now. So we're just at the precipice of watching to see if a warning comes out for northwestern Cook County and northwestern DuPage County, which I think we can, with some degree of self-confidence, suggest probably
That's
isn't
where
far
I'm
away, the warnings for those areas. One thing I was wondering, Bill, do we have updated rainfall? And also, I was looking at the radar. The stuff's going over Waukegan right now. I wonder what our camera, our brand new WeatherBug camera up at Waukegan Harbor is showing at the moment. It looks like it might be right under that stuff.
While we get that together, Tom, we have a picture that we can get to.
Oh, good.
Guys in my ear, I didn't hear where this picture.
Wow.
This is from Malta. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
16. So let's see. This is from Patrick Murray. Looks like he posted it at 5:52. So I would imagine this is the, he said moments ago north of 6. 6 miles north of Malta.
Ray is out here. Ray is watching this, and Ray, you said it's just north of.
Yeah, Malta.
All right, I'm gonna
just,
go
just
outside.
a
I'll be
few
right
miles
back.
West of Northern Illinois University, so not far at all.
No.
As we're looking at this from Patrick Murray.
Patrick Murray. Boy, that's a heck of a shot, isn't it?
That is, and
That's amazing. Oh, look at the Waukegan WeatherBug camera as the veil of rain cuts visibility. At first, you're looking out over Lake Michigan. Right there, watch it. Boom, like there. Imagine being out there on a boat. I wouldn't want to be. I hope our mariners are heading to port right now, if they haven't already started that. Look at the rains. Oh gosh, we went over that fast, but Rockford 254, Union at 237.
let's go back to Max 1 while he's going.
Yeah, Crystal Lake at 193, Libertyville 145, and boy, that's something. And here's our DeKalb camera. Now that's interesting. See, the line has passed by, and we're to the point where we have a broken overcast right there, and just these towering cumulus clouds in the wake of the storm. But it looks like a pretty good little rain shaft came across the area there. Bill, do we have Sandwich and I wonder what else would be out that way on our cameras?
Yeah.
While he's setting that up, let's go to Max 2, Tom. I want to discuss the couplets, a couple of them that we see here. First off, this one here.
There it is.
That is Sycamore. Looks like, I'll tell you what, if you are watching this from Sycamore, there's probably going to be news crews out in your neck of the woods sometime tonight or tomorrow, because this looks like Sycamore's gotten hit a couple times, it seems like, tonight, as that line of storms was just kind of stagnant across northern DeKalb County. And now we're looking into Kane County here, north of Campton Hills, southwest of St. Charles. Green is headed toward the radar. Red is headed away from the radar. So we're in velocity mode at this time.
Yes.
And let's see what we see. Not much going on.
How about up there in Lake County?
Tom, I looked. Well,
there's a little circulation.
I'll go to radar. But as you mentioned before, and
That's
every
up south
time
of Waukegan, east of Libertyville, right on the Lake Michigan shoreline up there.
As you mentioned before, that's when we're shooting pretty high, and not very high, but high enough into the atmosphere where sometimes you're not getting the ground because we're so far from the radar. But this is what it looks like on, when you look at the reflectivity.
Yes.
Lots of lightning along the lake, and boy, real problems now in the western Cook County. They haven't issued a tornado warning for Cook County, but if you're in Schaumburg, northern DuPage County, anywhere near O'Hare, north suburbs, period, it's time to get inside. This thing has a history of producing certainly funnel clouds, but maybe tornadoes. It's going to take us some time to kind of confirm exactly which cell did create the tornado, but it's rolling right up along the Kennedy and headed to the Schaumburg area now at about 20-25 miles per hour. And Tom, it's not showing much signs of weakening. I mean, at least on this is a 1 hour time lapse here, and it's not showing many signs of weakening.
You know what else is interesting, Demetrius? You look at eastern King County there, just west of the text that identifies Bloomingdale's location.
Yeah.
There's almost a little curl starting to develop in that reflectivity scan, and there's that little kernel of intense rainfall right in the middle. That would be an interesting area to watch. I don't know that we saw a couplet there, didn't we?
Let's see. So we're going Plano. And folks, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
You pull up the reflectivity. So right in the same area, I believe that's the same area right there. Plano's not.
Now
Plato,
that
excuse me.
that one is the one coming out of DeKalb County into Kane.
Oh,
shortly.
okay. Oh, yes. So you're sorry.
And
you're
so
here.
there's
We're
the
here.
one. Yeah, there's down a little lower, Demetrius, down by Campton Hills. There it is.
There it is. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a circulation there. Wow. And that would be just northwest of St. Charles.
It's pressing east to close to 20, 25 miles per hour. I'm going to go back to the Doppler.
Yeah. Model forecast. Wow.
And Tom, you know, we could be doing this again tomorrow. It's
Yeah.
unusual, right?
Yeah, you know,
slight risk today, enhanced tomorrow.
You know, Demetrius, I'm going out to a climate change talk tomorrow with some folks out at Fermilab and North Central University, so I'll miss the early shows. So you may be, you and Mr. Snyder and, you know, the whole weather team may be holding down the fort there, but I'll be back in with you after that. And you're right, we may be doing that again. Do you know the highest heat index so far this summer has been 99 degrees. It looks tomorrow, because of these extraordinarily high humidities and dew points with 92-degree temperatures, like we could have a heat index of 100 to 108 tomorrow across the area, which would be really miserably uncomfortable air, but also an air mass that's incredibly unstable, incredibly energetic. And I noticed the Storm Prediction Center has us in an enhanced risk area or close to it for severe weather.
I do have that set up, unless they just changed it. I'm going to show this, and then let's go back. Let's go to max 1 if we can. But I want to.
Yeah,
there we go.
we
There
go.
we go. Right there.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, the big concern, not necessarily, and of course you could still get tornadoes to pop up, but tomorrow I know the greatest concern, at least the folks at the Storm Prediction Center have alluded to, is straight line wind damage with any storm that develops tomorrow, with the tremendous amount of shear that's in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And of course all these, as you pointed out, the extreme temperatures and high dew points, so that it certainly will be something to watch.
By the way, guys, we know better, viewers. We're not spelling enhanced just to be cute.
Oh wow, that's
You know
me.
what, I'll tell you,
I'm glad you know what, Tom. You don't have to apologize for that.
No.
That's me at on 9 hours of work. I spelled enhance incorrectly.
Demetrius, I'll tell you something. That's terrain I've covered many, many, many times before. So that's called operator error, and I've done it. You know, I could write a book on that.
As much money as we spend for our weather vendors,
know.
how about spell check? Come
Tell
on.
me about it. I know. Yeah, where's spell check when we need it? Half the time it's messing up your text messages, you know.
Let's go to Max 1. Bill Snyder's cooking up something here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting multiple confirmed reports of a tornado near Sycamore. So that would be this complex right here.
Yep.
And again, the same general direction as all the storms have been moving this afternoon. They're moving in an east-southeast, 20 miles per hour.
Wow. Boy, that's one blockbuster of a rain-producing cell there too, Bill. you know?
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, there's no ground, whether you've been in drought or not. There is no ground that can hold this amount of water
That fast.
that fast. Exactly.
Yep. Yep.
And that, as you pointed out, in addition to all these reports of tornadoes, I think we're going to have some flooding issues as well.
Yeah, and that was confirmed by our viewers who were good enough to pass along photos of what happened, say, out by Palatine earlier today, but also in Boone, McHenry, and Winnebago counties, portions of those counties. Wow. You know, we're talking about some 4- and 5-inch rains.
Right.
Which is exactly what happened last night down around Peoria. So this air mass has shown a proclivity toward producing that kind of rain where the heaviest rains occur within it.
Right, and to give people an idea that a typical full month of August sees about 3.7 inches. So some of these areas are seeing more rain than a full August in an hour's time, 2 hours time.
Yeah.
In that time frame, it's extraordinary.
And the sad thing is, it comes so fast, and in an area that was ravaged by drought, has been for months. that, you know, some of it runs off instead of having time to percolate into the soil and do much good. But, of course, the main concern in this kind of situation is, you know, where these damaging winds spin up in addition to the flooding. And that's, of course, what we've been tracking with these tornado warnings. There they are, the current tornado warnings. Guys, how long do the warnings in red there in Kane County go on?
So if we go to max 2, so these guys can kind of recalibrate here, we have a tornado warning that is for northwestern DeKalb County. That expires at 7 p.m. I'm going to zoom in here. So the one that you see kind of the farthest east expires at 6:30. And then also for Kane County, I'm going to click on this one. Southern Kane County, that expires at 6:45. That's into DeKalb County, excuse me. The Kane County one, 6:30 for this one here, which is on, kind of on the eastern side of the county, and the one that's on the western side of the county, but also clips DeKalb County, is until 7 p.m. So our last tornado warning right now expires at 7 p.m. But right now we have the storms kind of maintaining their intensity, if not just kind of metamorphosizing into something else, now beginning to make their way into Cook County. We do have some storms in Cook County. As a matter of fact, right over O'Hare at this time. No warnings yet. No warnings, at least at this time, for Cook County. Just a tornado watch.
This is not the kind of news you want to hear. I've gotten confirmation of an elephant trunk tornado damaging a building near Sycamore, and that's what that cell in DeKalb County.
Wow.
So this is a very mean storm.
Yeah,
and
that is mean.
if you're in western Kane County, you certainly want to take cover immediately, because that storm obviously has a history of producing what appears to be a large and damaging tornado.
Hey, Bill, just out of curiosity, do you have that Edgewater Beach camera? Because I'm thinking, as this moves ever closer to Cook County, we've got mariners out there, we have people at the beaches. I'm just wondering what kind of populations we have out there.
Yeah.
And it was interesting yesterday watching the crowds along the beaches, and they've got to be watching this, or I hope they are, with great concern or interest, because you don't want to be stuck out there in this lightning and driving rain, let alone the potential for wind and the damage that produces. And
So he's getting that up. All right, let's go. We can stay on max 2, and I believe it'll pop up. Here we go right now.
See a
There it
handful
is.
of people out there.
They
but
aren't listening to us, Tom.
Look at that. Yeah. And you know what's interesting? What's interesting, I always look at whether there's sun shining, because that means the air mass is being heated. You know, that provides the environment into which these storms move, where these storms can continue generating. So that's, but wow, we've chased people off the beach there, haven't we?
Yeah, we cleared it out a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
We can go to, let's see. So these are the rainfall
Wow.
numbers so far. So
Yeah.
this is since midnight.
Yeah. And can you imagine, we know from these storms, there are spots between our reporting stations, our rain gauges, where they've no doubt gotten more than that, because that was the case this morning with the storms. But that gives you just a couple of, point observations on the kind of rain this thing has produced.
Okay, so I'm looking at some of the spotter reports here. Let's see, 6:21. So that's a couple minutes ago. In DeKalb County, so it's all Sycamore, as Bill mentioned. Tornado on the ground east of Spotter, I believe that is, at Bethany Road in Illinois 23. So it just could be east of Bethany Road and Illinois 23. So in DeKalb County, train spotter reports a tornado. And also another one from Sycamore. It's probably the same thing at 6:18. East of Sycamore, possible damage to structure. So as we get into portions of that area, near the Sycamore area, western Kane County into DuPage County, or DeKalb County, excuse me, you are under a tornado warning until 7 p.m. I'm going to put a tracker on this.
Here we got one right
Bill's
there,
got it.
next
There you
one.
go.
And this is that same cell, Demetrius. That's if you're in any of these locations, Virgil, Lily Lake, Hampton Hills, Elgin, you need to take cover and have a plan in action, because this storm is obviously a history of producing a large and destructive tornado.
By the way, one other feature that stands out to me, look how that line of storms going into Bloomingdale right now
Yeah.
and Schaumburg is bowing. It's occurring in an arc.
Okay, DuPage County tornado warning.
And there you go, Tom.
till
Just as you
7:30.
mentioned that, the
I think,
tornado
I
warning
think,
just
yeah,
got issued
literally,
for
you finish your sentence because this is the one you're
DuPage
talking
County,
about.
and I'm going to
Yep.
pull it up right here. And this
Look
is
at that.
the new warning.
DuPage County until
Yep.
7:30 p.m. So now,
All right, guys, I'm back. There's nothing out
That
there
would
other than
indicate
clouds.
Not only the potential for the presence of tornadoes, and it'd be interesting to look at the velocity data in a little bit, but when storms bow like that, when you get an arc in the radar returns, that's a sign often they're gushing straight line winds out with great force. So, you know, this looks like it could be coming into northwest Cook County, northern DuPage County with strong straight line winds, as well as what clearly must be a tornado signature as well. Do we have the velocity
got
data
it
on
right
it?
here. Let's see here.
Yeah,
so
there
what
it
we
is,
got-
right by Wayne, just
Yeah.
north of St. Charles.
Yeah.
That's that cell again.
So what we're looking at, folks, is the velocity scan. This what we're looking at is what's coming toward, wind going toward and away from the radar.
Yep.
It gives us a clear indication, usually pretty clear indication of what, of where there might be rotation, and that oftentimes will produce a tornado. And there's a pretty good one in western,
really is.
in the western side of the county too. Look at this one.
And you know
Oops.
what's particularly concerning? You're getting into more heavily populated terrain there. That's coming into you know, where our suburbs are closer. Look at that thing!
Yeah, that thing is pretty.
Wow, that is,
A warning remains in effect for that area until 7 p.m.
and that's strengthened, I think.
Yeah,
Isn't that your read on it?
It's very clearly. I mean, it's so isolated. I can go to reflectivity so we can. So there it is.
Yeah.
This is, yeah. So these two areas.
Yep. And look. At
Okay,
that.
guys,
There's
I
a
gotta
little
take shelter.
curl in that radar return there. Kind of a little hook echo trying to form. So there's looks like there's a circulation going on there too. And your tornado, you would presume, if there is a tornado in that, and clearly from the velocity scan, there sure seems to be the rotation in the supercell that might produce that. That would suggest right just west of Virgil there.
Yeah.
That would be right near that little hook on the back side of that orange and yellow and red area. That would be the area where there might be a tornado circulation coming together.
And Tom, from your experience, I mean, these things are extremely close to each other.
Yeah, you know, that it's true, Demetrius. Look, you've got that one in western Kane County, then about ready to go into western DuPage County from north of St. Charles. In eastern Kane County, there's one there too that looks suspicious.
And both of them have tornado warnings attached to them. One is the warning that goes into DuPage County until 7:30. The other one is for Kane and DeKalb County until it's 7:30. It's so it's 7:30 now. I'm sorry. I thought it was 7 o'clock. So the one that you see near Virgil, that is warned until 7:30. You know, these things are 5-6 miles apart from each other, but
And that's just where the tornado signatures are. That bow into north central DuPage County could presumably be producing some really strong winds. You know what might be interesting too, Bill, is if we look at the wind gusts off our weather bug
Yeah, I've been
network.
kind of keeping a close eye on that, looking for any indication. I haven't seen anything yet, but you're right, Tom. I think that we're going to find some strong winds here.
put this back into motion
as
so
it
we can
moves.
kind of get an idea.
Yeah.
So DuPage County, you are you have the tornado warning now, which has been issued by the National Weather Service until 7:30. The entire area has a tornado watch. So obviously conditions are favorable. We've had a number of confirmed tornadoes. I think that number might be up to 3 or 4 now.
At
Potentially a
least,
strong one through Sycamore, which may be ongoing. A number of tornado reports. The cells, and I'm just going to zoom in. I know it's hard sometimes for folks to find themselves on the map.
Right.
But there's Virgil, there's Plato, south of the Kennedy, north of I-88 is where that's moving through, so kind of central Kane County. The other one is just south of Elgin,
Yep.
pressing into portions of, I'm going to say clipping extreme northern or western Cook County and northwestern DuPage County, an area that has a tornado warning until 7:30. Lake County seems to be okay, and LaSalle County is just kind of starting to get into the game.
Yeah. Now this is interesting. I wonder
So-
where this is exactly.
This is southbound on the tri-state, so in that case, I don't know.
And where would that be?
This is just north of O'Hare. This is going to be a very interesting shot in about, about 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how tranquil things can be before you know, the bottom drops out.
Tom, we just got confirmation of a tornado on the ground in Maple Park in Kane County.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So this is very real.
Yeah.
People in this area need to take cover immediately, because it sounds like, as you pointed out, these storms are certainly not weakening at all. I mean, they're holding their strength, and we have every reason to believe that as they approach the immediate Chicago area, that they're still going to be capable of producing tornadoes, certainly if not straight line wind damage.
Well, you know, and also it could be argued that on a day when we don't have a lake breeze coming in,
Right.
you've got that urban heat island, which can inject an approaching band of storms with a burst of energy, a heat energy. And boy, nothing like, you know, some people often say, why don't you drop an atomic bomb in a tornado-producing thunderstorm? That's exactly what the storm wants you to do. It would take all that energy and spin up more, you know, a more powerful vortex. But the city can have that effect too, and close in urban area where you've got buildings and concrete and so forth heating up, and sending heat back up into the atmosphere again, increasing the buoyancy of the air, and therefore, you know, giving it, kind of supercharging the cell that's coming at you. So that'll be interesting to see. But also another thing, Bill, and you make a good point. This is heading into more densely populated terrain now.
Right.
You know, up till now, we've had it in our beautiful farm country, where communities are spread out some. And now, as you get into the Fox Valley, you know, east of Route 47 and Old Orchard Road and the Fox River itself, and then into DuPage County and Cook County, communities are closer together. There's more population, and you worry about any sort of tornadic circulation that would get down to the ground. So it's worrisome.
We can take a look into this. Well, okay, heading right out of DeKalb County, we have numerous reports of damage and reports of a tornado, at least one tornado, maybe more. In this area here, Sycamore, right through this area where we see the still well-defined couplet now continuing to press toward the east. So if you're in, if you're anywhere near the Virgil, Campton Hills, Blackberry areas, you should certainly get inside. I mean, Tom, I think sometimes it goes without saying, because it's probably coming down so hard there that you know, they're probably inside, but there's still some well-defined rotation. I mean, this is that is a pretty clear couplet.
So true, Demetrius. And you know, think about what all the rules we tell you about protecting yourself from tornadoes. They're designed for one thing. One, to keep debris that's flying through the air, like projectiles, from hitting you, away from windows that can shatter and send shards of glass through the air, and also from points in the building that might collapse on you. So, you know, we tell you to go to the lowest level you can go to an interior room. Stay away from windows. There's a tendency to sit there and want to watch the thing coming in. Bad idea if you're doing it through glass windows. And if you go to the basement, we used to tell people, go to the southwest corner of the basement. Turns out, because of the rotary winds in a tornado, chances are the corners of the basement will be the areas in which debris collects. You want to be down at the lowest level in the house, preferably below ground if you can. And if you don't have a room in the interior, a bathroom, preferably one without windows, is not a bad place to go. Some people lay in bathtubs if they really feel imminently threatened, because again, all of these structures will help protect you from what may be blowing through the air in these storms.
And Tom, the myth about opening your window, you know, I did that when I was a kid. I thought that.
Yeah, we all heard that, right?
That's just the myth. That's just the myth, right?
Well, you know, it's funny. My friend Brian Smith, who was a research assistant with Dr. Ted Fujita at the University of Chicago, he's now a warning coordination meteorologist with the Weather Service out in Omaha. But Brian always said that his response to people saying, should I open the window, is don't worry, the tornado will open it for you. And then he also makes the point, think about that for a second, what you're doing there. What you're presupposing is that the pane of glass which is very easily broken by if you had an extraordinary pressure change, is going to hold, and therefore the wall will blow out or something. That won't happen. If there's a dramatic pressure change, then the window's going to break and shatter, and whether you've opened it or not, that's going to happen. So you shouldn't be wasting time opening up windows. That's old thinking, you know. It's kind of like the notion that you shouldn't go swimming within an hour of eating a meal. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but I think that's not addressed as carefully these days as it was when we were kids.
No, I just took my kids to the pool. Trust me, they don't go. They aren't listening to that anymore.
Yeah.
I just want to.
All right, Bill, you got more?
Just wanted to
Let's go to Max
reiterate about that tornado warning in west central Kane County. A confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located 3 miles northeast of Maple Park.
Wow.
This is now being dubbed by the National Weather Service as a PDS warning. This is a particularly dangerous situation warning. So if you live in any of these communities, Elburn, Campton Hills, Maple Park, Lily Lake, and Virgil, we had that up on our tracker just a little bit ago. You need to take cover immediately because there is every bit of reasoning to hear that storm is going to hold together and it's potentially produce another tornado.
And boy, from that velocity field we were looking at, you can believe it.
Yeah.
That looks like a very healthy circulation embedded within that thunderstorm cluster out there. So, yeah, take that seriously.
Yeah, and, let's go to Max 2, and then I'm going to introduce a video. I just want to show this really quickly. Tom, I got velocity on Max 2, guys.
Wow,
I got
there it
velocity
is.
south of Virgil. If this is a tornado, and it moved right through the Sycamore area, so it kind of followed a path like this. If this is a tornado, it has, or if it produces a tornado, it's an area of rotation that has continued to rotate for I don't know how many miles, probably dozens of miles, as it crossed counties. There have been numerous reports of tornadoes in the Sycamore area, that area under a tornado warning until 7 o'clock this evening. Hey, we got some video to show to you. Ray, Lourdes, you guys are there. Can you help us?
Yeah,
tell
let
us what
me
we're seeing?
play this stuff. Can you see this? Wow. So this is coming in from,
Wow.
as you've been talking about, near Sycamore. It's a young man who's a London Mahler. He's a weather enthusiast, he says, and you can hear him
Look at the
kinda
debris.
narrating this. Yeah.
There's debris airborne there. And by the way, you can see, Lourdes, that tremendous updraft into the cloud there. And of course, you get the rotary circulation as the air rushes in to replace it. That is one mean looking, and look at that. It's breaking into multiple vortices there. So you got multiple funnels spinning around that larger vortex right there. But look at the debris that's tossed some distance from that circulation center.
And he's really been taking some incredible pictures out there near Sycamore. I'm actually surprised he got this close to it because it does look like an incredibly mean storm, as you've been saying, Tom.
Well, that's confirmation there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Wow. That's,
look at how high that debris is being lifted. I mean, that's not, those aren't leaves, folks. That's something that has some weight to it being lifted.
Yeah, he was saying a few farms already near Sycamore have been damaged. He's been posting a few of the pictures. I'm going to look through some of the rest of them and try to bring them to you as soon as I can get them up here.
Stunning, Lourdes. Stunning. Look at that. Is that a farmer in the field there, or is that somebody in the field?
Yeah, I think people just trying to get as close as they can.
Oh, wow.
But we've been saying that we've been fortunate this evening that they've, it hasn't been the heavily populated areas yet.
No.
But now this threat is moving to DeKalb County. It's still moving. Northern Kane County is an area of concern.
I can't get over the debris. You're so right about that, Demetrius. That looks like little pieces of wood or something floating. It is amazing. I've watched video like that where one of those little specks is actually a car, or a roof. You really underestimate the size of what's being hoisted aloft in that circulation. And by the way, look at its position. It's perfectly situated. This is one of these backside. See how the cloud base lowers off to the east? It'd be in that area that the rain is occurring and the air is falling out of the cloud, but it's near the rear quadrant of the storm, where this air is being sucked up into the cloud, and then much as water sucked down a bathtub drain begins to rotate, the air going up into the cloud begins to rotate. And And then you break it down into different vortices. If you look carefully there are individual little vortices that are spinning around it. And that's really quite interesting. But wow, that's an incredible video, Lourdes.
Do you guys mind if I click out of this and try to look at some of the
Yeah.
other pictures that he's got?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because like I
Lourdes.
said, I mean, here you can see some of the damage. Again, he says this is near Sycamore and that a
Wow.
few of the farms in that area have been destroyed. And already you see trees down.
How sad.
You see the top of that, what looks like a garage there. The roof just peeled off of
Yeah,
there.
that siding that you see,
Yeah.
that could likely be what you see circling in
Sure,
the air
sure.
up toward the top of
Some
that
other
tornado.
pictures that he's got.
And that's what
Again,
the National Weather Service is going to look forward to probably tomorrow. They'll head out and they'll try to figure out what created. I mean, we have, obviously if trained spotters have seen it, we got this video. They're going to try to figure out exactly what caused the damage and then assess how strong.
Oh, my word.
Oh wow, that is an interesting picture.
What was that?
No, I don't think that was his. I don't
Oh,
think that was
okay.
his.
All
You know,
right.
looking through. Yeah, sorry about that.
Wow. Were those
And
today's?
some of these are ads, obviously.
Yes.
So this is today's. This is today's.
Okay, we're
Again,
showing the velocity again.
Landon Mahler.
Keep
Look at that.
keep that in mind. Now we're showing the velocity again, so we're going to kind of marry the science with that image that we got there. Sycamore is at the now it's in the center portion of your screen.
Yeah.
The area that we're
Yeah.
talking about, well, the area of rotation now has moved out of the Sycamore area
Yeah.
and should be near Campton Hills. But this certainly did move a number of miles across. I'm just going to go on a limb and say it probably moved a dozen miles. If this was a tornado, if it was that tornado, then it's still showing rotation, and it's now completely central to another county.
Yeah. That's disturbing, to put it mildly. And that video is just
Wow.
amazing. Hey, Bill, can we do a slice through on this thing? That cluster out there? That we'll just look at how the tops have done. And remember, we've looked at this before, so we'll see. Remember, they've been up around 40 to
40,000.
45,000 feet. And it'll be interesting to see if we're still up in that range.
While we're getting this together, looking for wind gusts, I'm only finding a 40-mile-per-hour wind gust near Rockford. So
Yeah,
not a lot.
weatherbug. At least on our weatherbug sensors, we haven't been
Yeah.
able to detect anything that's terribly strong yet. And again, it doesn't mean that it's not happening.
No.
But at least according to the weatherbug sensors, we have not confirmed any terribly damaging gusts at this point.
Yeah.
The National Weather Service has confirmed, I believe, let me make sure I got this right. Report spot a rain-wrapped tornado near, I believe it's Baith Road and Meredith Road in Kane County near Virgil. This was at 6:31. So,
And they said that, see, that tornado we looked at, that was not rain wrapped.
so that would be a different one.
So this is a different one. Yeah, interesting. Bill, that's not the best slice through right there, but
While we're getting this together,
that's
folks,
tricky to do that.
we have a tornado warning that remains in effect for DuPage County until 7:30. That's the northwestern section of the county.
Yeah.
For Kane County, that remains in effect until 7 p.m. The only other thing that we're looking at now is a tornado watch for the entire viewing area. These storms have not made their way to downtown Chicago yet. They're just beginning to make their way into Cook County, although they have a history of producing tornadoes. It looks like
Oh.
we've seen a number of them.
hey guys, we have new video. Lourdes and Ray, you got
trying to
one from
pull it up for
Cortland,
you.
Illinois?
Yeah, I'm trying to get where this is from. I believe this one is from Creston, Illinois. Oh, Creston or Cortland? Cortland, Illinois.
Yeah, out in
Yeah,
the
it's from a
DeKalb area.
distance, but you can see
wow.
the magnitude of this
Yeah.
tornado.
That's impressive, Ray. Yep, that's out in DeKalb County. Wow.
We also have video that we're trying to turn around too from that general area as well.
Sure. Wow. You know, I'll tell you, this era of social media, look at all the...
You just have to be
look at
careful
yeah, I
what
know.
you pull up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it's fascinating. When did we ever get the kind of video and pictures back from affected areas
Yeah.
as quickly as we do these days? It's an incredible tool. Look at all the tornado reports. And Demetrius, as you've been so careful to point out, you know, sometimes you're looking at the same tornado from different locations. And so what the storm folks with the Weather Service will do tomorrow is they'll have a printout of all the circulations indicated over the whole term of this outbreak by Doppler radar, and they'll drive out to these areas or areas where they've had damage reported and try and assess on the ground what the strength of the winds were that produced it. You know, the Fujita scale, when you hear EF1 and EF0 and EF, that's actually a damage intensity scale. And so the way the winds are inferred is certain levels of damage that have been very precisely measured over the years are laid out. And when the storm surveyors go out there, they assess from the damage and the extent of the damage what the winds were like that produced it, quite likely. And there was quite an overhaul of the Fujita index a couple years ago. But so it will be interesting to see. You know, in theory, if you have a tornado in a cornfield and it hasn't damaged anything but corn stalks, you don't get an EF rating on it. But if it's affected a home or a building or destroyed it, then you can ascertain what the EF rating on the storm was and therefore what its winds were. And I'm not sure everybody realizes that, but that's really true.
Here's our newest video from, I believe this is from Cortland.
Yeah, this is from Cortland. It's obviously from a great distance. You can see the silo there in the foreground there. You can't see the debris that it's kicking up, but you see how far down it stretches, and it is definitely rotating, and it's got to be doing some damage there on the ground if there are any structures in its way.
Wow.
And you see the emergency vehicles there in the distance as well.
Very close.
Mm-hmm. Stunning to see it.
It is stunning.
We also, just to point out, we've gotten confirmation of the tornado warning out in Kane County that there has been a confirmed touchdown in Lily Lake, and that is just to the east of Virgil, north of Elburn, and to the west of Campton Hills.
Wow.
Okay, so that's the rotation that we were following that's now into portions of, well into portions of Kane County. There's also a marine warning issued by the National Weather Service, water spout possible for Lake Michigan. So, well, no one should be on the water for the rest,
No. No, if you're not headed for port right now, you could be in a load of trouble. Isn't it fascinating to watch these things as they move? They change configuration. The condensation cloud that marks the funnel oscillates. It disappears at times. Other times it appears again. And keep in mind, you know, what's happening there, air all around that storm is rushing in toward that funnel and then ascending into the cloud there. And so that's one of the reasons why for many years you heard people describing a tornado coming in, saying how heavy the air felt. There's a unique feel to the air. Well, the reason is there's a lot of moisture converging on that funnel. And therefore, there is, we look for dew point increases around there as a proxy for the convergence that sometimes will lead to a tornado even before the tornado shows up. That's because all the air is converging on that circulation center. But wow, what an incredible piece of video.
So I can take you to St. Charles, Tom, with WeatherBug.
Oh,
Real
yes.
quick, this is a live camera out at St. Charles, and as the storms approach that area.
Yeah, very good.
I think we have more. We have some. What do we have here?
Waukegan.
So once again, tornado warning. I'm always worried about viewers who just come in, wondering what we're doing here. Tornado warning has been issued and it remains in effect for DuPage County until 7:30. Northwestern DuPage County, Kane County until 7 p.m. We have had numerous confirmed tornadoes. At least, I don't know what the number is, 2 or 3.
I think it's going to be, unfortunately, more than that.
It's probably going to be more than
5 or
that.
6.
Numerous areas of damage. We have had just a few reports of heavy of flooding rains. I think just a few reports and some thunderstorm damage. These thunderstorms that are moving through our region, well, not all, but most of them have a history of producing damaging winds, potentially tornadoes. We've seen a number of them drop We are looking into this area here, which includes all of northern DuPage County, into Cook County, northwestern Cook County, south of Schaumburg, across all of Kane County. We may have already seen a number of tornadoes across portions of Kane County. DeKalb, you look to be clearing out, but we're also watching a cell which is beginning to develop as you get into portions of LaSalle County also at this time. So if you're watching us right now, you're under a tornado watch, and the warnings are still in effect for DuPage and Kane counties.
Right.
And can we widen out a little bit on that one, Bill, just to show where it is relative to the city? And you can see there, you know, that tornado warning out in DuPage County, it wouldn't be hard extrapolating that into parts of Cook County in the not too distant future.
No, I have the rain, and it's just the beginning of the onset of the rain, 15 miles away from downtown.
Interesting.
So 7:30, 7:15 or so.
Yeah.
But that's just the front edge of the rain. That's not the most powerful point of the storm.
Hey, Demetrius, at one point, oh, here we go. Now this will be interesting.
This is Kane County, another tornado warning until 7:30. Let's go to max 2.
Yes.
You can almost draw a line directly across northern Kane County and northern DuPage County.
Oh, these poor people have just had so much today, northern Kane County, but right into here. This is a new tornado warning. Let's see here.
Look at that
TV
sagging.
TV crew reports damage to trees and power lines near Bethany Road and Finstermaker near Sycamore. So it's reported by there's that one crew. I think it's our Nexstar station actually that's following this thing, and I think they're all the way into Kane County, and they have reported a tornado damage at least.
Look how that's sagging into St. Charles. Quite interesting. So that's getting farther south. You've gone from the Elgin area was visited by that first line, and now this cluster is going into the central Fox Valley area, down toward St. Charles, Batavia, areas like that, still north of Aurora. So the skyscapes out there ought to be pretty interesting looking to the north from Aurora, for instance.
Take you to, well, not Aurora, but we can take you to St. Charles. This cell is moving east at about 25 miles per hour at this time.
Yes. Hey, Bill, or Demetrius, you put up the Doppler estimate of rainfall, which is really quite telling. I wonder if that's easily within reach at this point.
Let's see. Well, we can look into each specific cell. So now I'm looking at the little area where it's really intense, just northwest of St. Charles.
Yes.
2.74 inches per hour. Wow.
And do you have that Doppler accumulated precipitation?
Oh, there we go. I know what you mean. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what that looks like. Look at that.
Look at that.
You know, when we looked at that little yellow area, which is the area of 2 inches or more, that didn't extend into Kane or DeKalb County earlier. And then, of course, the storms that went through this morning from Rockford east into Boone and McHenry counties, wow, that we know for a fact we have ground truth on some 4 to 5 inch totals up there. So, boy, some pretty healthy rains, and that's right in drought country up there. Still hasn't gotten into northern Lake County in a huge way, although there were still storms that went through there.
Yeah, we can go to weather, but I believe Bill has rainfall. There's St. Charles again, an area that, there we go, looking at Edgewater Beach.
And here's our rainfalls. This is up to date, at least according to the stations that we have at our disposal here.
Did you look at any wind gusts, Bill? Are we seeing anything there?
You know, in the 30s, Tom. I don't think. Yeah, there's a wind gust, which surprisingly hasn't caught anything yet.
Yeah. Well, you know, the one thing you got to say, these storms are not moving super fast. What they'll do is produce highly localized and very strong wind gusts that will easily occur between observing stations. But, you know, if this was like a year ago's derecho that was flying along at highway speeds, 60 miles an hour, then you get this huge swath of just continuous damage, which is what derechos do. They're fast-moving squall lines. These are more like clusters, and they'll develop a lot of localized wind around them. given the amount of energy in the atmosphere here.
I'm going to bring in Lourdes. Lourdes, you got pictures of Mordant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the, remember earlier we were watching that video and
Yes.
that debris that was spinning out of that tornado? Well, this is a still picture, and you can see it's taken from his camera. Again, Landon Mahler, who's been out there, and you can see just the huge pieces of debris that are coming out of that
Wow.
tornado. So it just gives you a better perspective of what was going on out there,
Sure
and
does.
just the huge chunks that are coming out, spinning out of that tornado and the winds there.
See why you want to stay out of the range of winds. Imagine being hit by any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the danger you face if you don't get below ground or shelter yourself in some way. That stuff blows through the air. You know, they've done tests that show a 2x4 moving at 100 miles an hour will blast through a chimney. So you'd be surprised. It doesn't take as much velocity in these pieces of debris as you might think in order to do catastrophic damage. And remember, there were pictures that emerged from the Naperville storm a couple weeks back where these huge 2x4s came through the wall. And I mean, they literally penetrated the roof and the wall into people's living rooms. So you see the size, the chunks. What really is sad is you're wondering what that is that's going airborne. Is that somebody's home? Is that a barn? What is it exactly?
That's what we don't know. I will check in with him and find out exactly what it is, but from the pictures that I've been able to look at, it looks like maybe it was perhaps some sort of shed or garage out there that just came apart. Maybe because of its age, it started to pull apart with the winds. But most of the damage that I've seen just in Sycamore, it looks like it's been, you know, down trees, maybe roofs that sort of peeled off in some areas. That's the bulk of what I'm seeing right now. Is there more? Likely, but we won't know probably till later tonight or even early tomorrow morning.
No, that's right, Lourdes. You often don't get a complete read on how bad the damage has been until sometime after the storm, when you get first responders in there, and let's hope nobody was hurt. That's what we pray.
Always do. Yeah, it's so tough when you see these images and you do wonder, Tom, you know, what's going on out there. Did those families take shelter, take cover in time? Did they get enough of a warning to know that they needed to make their way inside before this thing hit? And you pray for that each and every time we report on situations like this.
Well, you know what, Lourdes, the watch was issued at 2
this.
p.m.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play this video here. This is I don't know if it's the same one or a different one, but it's also in Sycamore here. From Katie Stratton Newhouse, right in a subdivision. It's hard to gauge how many miles away it is, but it looks awfully close.
Sure does.
Doesn't it? You know, you can imagine that is stretching to the ground. That is apparently the same one that we just saw the closer video, where it was going through some sort of structure that was blowing up the pieces of siding. It gives you a real idea of the destructive power of this tornado. And Tom, it seems like it is a fairly wide tornado.
Yeah, I'll tell you, some of them, Ray, will get to be a half a mile across, and the damage path will get to be that wide. But let me tell you, Ray, you're right. That's a well-developed tornado. There are no two ways about it. And from some of the video we've seen, the lower extremity, which is below the horizon on this particular shot, clearly is, composed of multiple vortices. You know, for a long time, we looked at areas hit by tornadoes, and one house would be hit and destroyed, another house would be skipped, and the thinking was that the storm was skipping along the ground. Now what we know is that what actually happens is these little mini tornadoes spinning around the larger vortex create wind speeds that could be as much as 100 miles per hour stronger than the larger vortex wind speed. And so if you're hit by one of these little suction vortices, as they're called, then you get into some real trouble in terms of the extent of the damage. And but that is, Ray, that's a remarkable piece of video.
We just also got word from the Cubs hosting the Brewers tonight. That game has been delayed as they anticipate that severe weather that is making its way east or west from where we've been showing those pictures as it makes its way east toward the Chicago area.
Interesting. Well, that's a prudent move.
Yeah.
Remember the day of the Washington tornado back in November, a couple years back? We had the Bears game that
yeah.
day.
In
And
the
that
morning,
storm
yeah.
was headed right toward Chicago if you extrapolated its movement. And indeed, we had debris that was picked up over 120 miles away that rained down on Chicago that had been swept up by that tornado. And they prudently kept everybody out of the stands on that storm, or on that particular
Well,
Sunday.
you anticipate that that's happening at Wrigley right now. That game's set to begin, in 5 minutes' time. So you've got thousands and thousands of fans that are anticipating a game there at Wrigley right now.
Yes.
Bill Snyder has a little bit more. Bill, what do you got?
Oh, I just got confirmation, just west of St. Charles, a brief touchdown, that the Weather Service had noted even that there was some slight weakening, but these storms are still capable of brief spin-ups, and so that was reported out in St. Charles. We have our weather bug camera positioned there. If this thing were to hold together, I'm certainly we'll be able to see it here off of our camera as we look towards the Fox River in downtown St. Charles.
So the first Kane County tornado warning has been allowed to expire, but portions of Kane County, let me pull it up here, are still under the tornado warning until 7:30. So right in this area here, so as you get into eastern Kane County, north of Aurora, DuPage County, that is a tornado warning also till 7:30. These are all the warnings that we're looking at this time.
Wow. This is neat. Guys, any idea where this is from?
This is 90 near Huntley, near Woodstock.
Cool.
So this is an area that really got hit hard earlier today, and now we're kind of behind the storms.
Yes.
And you kind of you see it from another perspective.
Yep, and still the Amazon delivery man or person is on the job there.
Tom, I got word from that young man who's been taking those pictures. He says what we saw, that debris that we saw in that farmland, was large pieces of a barn, a metal grain container. They got ripped up out of those structures and then were spinning in the air, and the debris was falling out, he says, out of the sky for minutes. But he could see some of that debris falling on some of the roads as they crossed over. So
How interesting.
that's what they were experiencing out in Sycamore.
I was going to say it looked like metal siding,
Yeah.
which, if you've ever picked it up, it's not very heavy. It's not, but you get one of those things flying up, some 20, 30, 40 feet in the sky and
Slicing
then
through
flying
the air.
back at you. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's dangerous.
It's terrible.
All right, so on the Doppler right now, and I just want to kind of reset, the heaviest cell that we see now is right on St. Charles. We're not seeing it on our WeatherBug camera, but it's right on St. Charles. There's another one that's tornado warned for DuPage County. Looks like there could be a hook, but it does look like it's kind of weakening there. We'll have to see. Still a very powerful storm. It's going to make its way across the north suburbs of Chicago very soon. It's headed through O'Hare now. I bet you there are some delays there. And there's also this line that's pretty wicked now. This one, Tom, it looks like it's tapping into all of that instability, that cape that's still there, and developing strong storms right into portions of LaSalle County.
Well, keep in mind, these things will tend to oscillate in intensity. But what's interesting is these storms now are moving southeastward into warm, humid air, which hasn't been cooled by rain today. And so there is a lot of pent-up energy in that atmosphere, and these storms can flare. And so we're not out of the woods yet on this. This is an atmosphere ripe for to explode, and we'll see now whether it does. Guys, I've been out here in the studio. I haven't looked at what is our temperature and dew point at O'Hare right now, just our midway. What are we doing now?
We got it right. Give me 10 seconds.
I can bring those up right now on
We're
Max
on Max.
1 with the current temps, and we
Oh,
can
yeah.
go from there to
There
the
we
dew
go.
points.
So it's 78 degrees now, south-southwest winds 13, and look at the dew point, 73 degrees. Woo, 84% humidity. I was looking at an analysis of the water content of the air, more than 2 inches of evaporated water. There they are. Look at those
82 dew
points.
point in Rochelle. I mean, to keep in mind here, the highest dew point ever recorded in Chicago was 83 back in July of 1999. So, I mean, even in corn country, we're bumping up against about as high of atmospheric moisture as you can possibly see in this area.
And by the way, it's no accident that those highest dew points are occurring where they are.
Yep.
It's out over the mature crops.
Right.
And you know, you don't say that accusatorily. It's just or accusingly.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. Plants put moisture back in the atmosphere. Many people have asked why these rains have missed our northern counties that have been so in drought, and it's always been my sense that dry soils and the vegetation in them that isn't able to put moisture back in the atmosphere, and that is a big part of the moisture budget on some of these storms, is part of the reason why these storms go into a dry area and oftentimes evaporate. Oh, we've got Skycam up in the air, I'm told. Tell you, this will be interesting.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
I'll tell you what, we've got a brave crew up there.
Give that man a raise.
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you. Who, is Sarah up there? Or who's up there? Not
Is it
Sarah.
Shannon?
Shannon. Shannon, is Shannon up there now? And our crew?
I don't know, but I'm watching, you know, the camera looking toward downtown, and you see the trees in the foreground.
Oh, yeah.
They are blowing, and the skies are gray, and it is raining here, but it doesn't look like, you know, we're on the cusp of what you would consider to be severe weather right now.
No. And it's interesting, Ray, because look at this batch of storms. What's interesting though is there's no lightning
Yeah.
right there. And that's an interesting proxy for a storm intensity. This thing is still flashing lightning. And look at the activity here northwest of Ottawa. That doesn't mean that this can't flare again. I mean, this whole area down here is hot and humid. And so these storms and the outflow from them, often it's the air gushing out of a storm that leads to the next batch of storms developing. So the fact these are moving into an area of hot, humid air means there may be rapid development at some point down the road. Guys, I see, Bill, you've got one of these slice-throughs here. There we go. Look at this. And still, they go up to 40,000 feet. So the tops have not come down a great deal. Look, we even got a little poke right there. By the way, you know, you look at the tops of these things, and you know you've got a vigorous thunderstorm when you get these bumps. They call them overshooting tops on top of this. That's where the updraft is strong. And right about here is where the stratosphere begins. The temperature drops through this part of the atmosphere, and then it starts rising. The ozone layer is up here. So it absorbs ultraviolet, warms up. And that's why thunderstorms develop up to the bottom of the stratosphere, and then they anvil out. But occasionally you'll get these overshooting tops right here, and that's a sign you've got a particularly vigorous updraft. And you know, the stronger the updraft, the better the chance underneath that you've got strong winds rushing in, and also you might even have a tornadic circulation showing up right there. There's another scan right there. But wow, you get under one of those cloud towers and it's raining cats and dogs out there, no question about it. By the way, something else interesting to note. Note how the Weather Service is taking the tornado watch down as the line moves through the area, and that's because the thunderstorms have done their thing. They've mixed down cooler, more stable air, and so the storm threat dies once these storms move through the area. But the red area, shaded area, is the tornado watch, and that runs until about 10 o'clock tonight. And it extends down. If we can move this up a little bit, Bill, yeah. You folks in northwest Indiana, over here into LaPorte County and Porter counties, and down into Newton and St. John counties, and then down toward Will and Kankakee counties, you're still in an area where there's a risk that continues. And the eastern extremity of this box is, figure that's in effect till at least 10 o'clock tonight. So we'll see what's happening. And it's interesting that there's still vigorous storms developing back here, an area that has been swept by thunderstorms already. So that's quite something. Wrigley Field would be right about there. So here's this stuff coming in toward Wrigley Field right there. And you can see why there's a special marine warning. Anybody out in a boat right out there would be wise to hightail it to port, because you don't want thunderstorms overhead with all that they bring with them, gusty winds and so forth. Yeah.
Okay, we have some damage in McHenry County. Okay, so there's roof damage there.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like window damage also. This is McHenry County. So, you know, this puts our, you know, in McHenry County, there was a tornado reported. Let me pull this up here. There was a tornado reported McHenry reports possible tornado near Blake Road and Richmond Road in McHenry. That was at 4:48 p.m. So I don't know if this damage is from that area, but just I kind of want to throw that in there that this is this is from the city of McHenry. So this may have been the same area, but this is into McHenry County. Some damage, obviously, if you're a homeowner around this area, you know about the fences. We lost that one there, but there's also some roof damage there. It looks like some damage to a window also. Not a lot of it, but also some siding pulled out too. So that's in McHenry County where there was a tornado reported. You can see it. These are all our storm reports, excuse me, in the area.
And you can see, can't you, Demetrius, how they're concentrated out there in Lee, Ogle, DeKalb, King counties. We have that one up in eastern McHenry County, and then we have that cluster up around Rock County, south of Janesville, where earlier today there were storms dancing across the landscape out there. And then those blue raindroppy type icons. That's where the rain was so terribly heavy. Bill, I see you've done a time of arrival here.
Yeah, this is with that northern extent of the warning that covers DuPage County till 7:30. If that storm again is capable of producing a tornado and anywhere along this path, certainly should heed any warnings right now. And if they were to continue into Cook County, Leiden, Norwood Park, Oak Park, Chicago. Also, I heard from our cooperative weather observer out at O'Hare Field, and he points out to me that in the last couple of hours, very little or no air traffic has been moving in or out of O'Hare. I don't believe there's a ground stoppage, but there are very few planes that are taking off and or landing right now at O'Hare.
Well, I'll tell you, the aviation folks take weather issues very seriously. And that's why there's the kind of safety record the aviation industry enjoys. Because, they often say that in Alaska, they say a wild pilot is a dead pilot, and pilots know that. So pilots are a very, very cautious group. Yeah. And so that's an interesting report.
So we'll go back to our warnings here and just show this is where we're at right now.
All our warnings expire at 7:30. The last two that you see there, they both expire at 7:30. There's one for DuPage, one for Kane County, and they both expire at 7:30.
That's good. We've not had any additional severe reports, have we, guys?
They are popping up, but I'm not seeing anything new. I mean, a lot of, you know what, Tom? There have been so many different tornado reports that I'm afraid of, kind of guesstimate how many different tornadoes it could have been. But we have no new reports. I mean, we have a report of damage to trees and power lines near Bethany Road. That's in Sycamore. Lots of report of damage by Sycamore. St. Charles, we do have a report of some heavier rain there. Another one in Lily Lake. That is minor reports of weak tornado damage. Numerous funnel clouds reported. But at this point, and I'm surprised into DuPage County, we don't have any reports, at least not yet. That's an area that's under the tornado warning till 7:30.
But guys, look at that. I mean, the action's about ready to get going here in Cook County. It already is in places.
Absolutely.
And that's coming in. It looks like DuPage County has got some pretty good cells. Same out in Kane County still. So, and why not? This whole area is hot and humid. So it's unwise to read anything into the trend at this point in this storm cycle, because as long as you have warm, humid air, you got an atmosphere primed to explode. Quite interesting.
I just heard from an additional report. I must have listened to us from my neighbor who works out at O'Hare, and he has confirmed. I don't know if any of if the desk or anyone here can confirm. He has confirmed there is a ground stop at O'Hare Field right now.
I can believe it. Well, O'Hare would sit right about there, so maybe a little more like there. Right. And so, yeah, there's been some action out there. Have you guys seen the wind gusts out of there? I'm in the studio, so
They were at 38 miles an hour.
38.
Yeah, I still keep refreshing, thinking we're going to see something more extraordinary, but I haven't been able to locate that just yet.
Let's
you know,
go-
look at the uniformity here.
That's what I wanted to show
Although,
you there.
you know, what about right in there? Is there a little couplet there?
That is an area that is under northern DuPage County under a tornado warning until 7:30.
Gotcha.
I can go to the radar so you can see you know, dare I say it looks like it's, you know, weakening, but every time, something looks like it's weakening today, 5 minutes later there's a tornado.
There it
drop.
goes. I know.
So that's what we're seeing in that county. We're seeing extreme northern, northeastern DuPage County with some heavy rain, northwestern DuPage County with some heavy rain, but that area is under a tornado warning for another 15 minutes.
Hey, Bill, can you punch up the color-enhanced satellite?
Sure.
This is kind of interesting because you can look at the cold cloud tops and you can see where storms are developing, also get an idea of the trend in the storm development. But what you'll see now as we zoom in on this is these storms that start up in Wisconsin. Remember, there were tornadoes in Rock County. Then watch how this builds southward. And there are this is the anvil tops of the thunderstorms. So you got that big complex down that we were looking at southwest of our immediate Chicago area, and then you have the anvil top coming over the city. And that's quite interesting, yeah, right there. This air is hot. Keep in mind, too, what's happening here is cool air is blowing off the top of the thunderstorm, and you've got hot, humid air underneath it. So as the cold air comes in here, you bring cold air aloft on top of the hot, humid air. That increases the rate at which temperature drops with height. We say that destabilizes the atmosphere, encourages air to rise, and that's why there can be additional development down in this area here, and why it's a little early to sound taps on this weather situation, even though we've not had severe weather reports. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we don't. But this situation can still come alive at a drop of a hat. Thinking about, again, back in the Woodridge-Naperville storm, that storm made it all the way across Iowa and northwest Illinois. There were a couple of hail reports. And then, boom, it got over Woodridge and Naperville, and that thing blew up at 11 o'clock at night. And so, it shows how quickly the landscape meteorologically can change in these situations. And by the way, what we're laying in on top of that is kind of a vertical profile where the clouds are the tallest. So, here's Chicago, Wrigley Field, about there. And so it's the counties out here in western Cook County that are getting in on some pretty good action right now. And that is quite interesting. Those are healthy-looking cumulonimbus clouds, that's for sure.
And we have that tornado watch, which is for the entire viewing area. I don't know if they're going to. I do think that they've cleared out our northern counties there, Lake County. So for all the areas shaded in red or yellow on this map, it's a tornado watch that's in effect until 10 p.m.
I think, frankly, I think this, like this area of northern DeKalb County, out in Lee and Ogle counties, and even up into McHenry and like an area like this. Go north and west of the current squall line. This area is probably in a region of reduced risk, and I would imagine that will be cleared of the watch pretty soon, but it's still alive and well for our viewers in northwest Indiana and our southern suburbs and here in Cook County, and back into DuPage County as well. Will and Kankakee counties in on that, Grundy and Kendall counties, stuff going on. Tornado warning till 7:30 p.m. That's this red box in here. Interesting. And we saw a vague little couplet right there on the velocity scan, which suggests there might be some circulation there.
I can put that back up on Max 2, and it's looking better. I mean, if folks have been following us right in that area there, folks have been following us. They know that we've been kind of tracking the rotation all across that area, but.
See, look at this, Demetrius, north of Addison there's a little bit of a cut. Yeah. It's not that bright green, but it is bright red.
All right.
So there's some stirring going on there.
Oh, yeah, okay. So there's some powerful Bensonville. Headed to Schiller Park, headed east.
Yeah.
Strong winds at least.
Having come through Itasca and the Bloomingdale area, Schiller Park, about on the precipice of that.
There we go.
And there they are.
And I think we're going to get WeatherBug. What are you going to pull up
Let's
here?
see if I'm going to look at we have a Bloomingdale camera. Let's see if that is showing anything.
So again, wait a minute, tornado warning. Oh yeah, still in effect. They've kind of kept this thing going in the portions of DuPage County until 7:30, and also for Kane County until 7:30. Everyone else in the area that's shaded red there is under a tornado watch, which means conditions are favorable for the development of tornadoes. That's until 10 p.m. So if you're watching us
Ooh,
from Cook County, let's
Pull up
see
our
that on there.
WeatherBug camera.
Let's see. We're going to go to WeatherBug. So let's take a look at.
Boy, that's a pretty good little cell coming into Cook County there, out of northeast DuPage County.
That's
too.
the one that was tornado warned. So we're
Sure
going to
looks
see.
like it. Looks like this moved
Yeah.
the camera. I almost, guys, you might correct me if I'm wrong here, but I almost can see a wall cloud in the distance off this
Let's go to
WeatherBug
max.
camera
There we go.
on Bloomingdale. Watch that at the end there. See that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Look how it
Yeah.
moves the
Boy, there
camera.
sure is. In fact, it'd be interesting. It almost looks like a funnel cloud,
It
doesn't
does. It sure does.
Yeah.
Yeah, out of the base. A wall cloud, by the way, is the isolated lowering of the cloud base. And the reason wall clouds are considered important is because the reason the cloud base is lowering is because the air is rising. So watch right in here, in this area in here. So we animate right there. That it shot by real fast. Can we slow that down at all, Bill?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's show that. Let's slow that down a little bit. And here we are making the sausage again for you, folks.
I'll take you to
That's
the
right.
I'll take you to the her while we're
Exactly,
going through
that's
that.
right. little behind the scenes.
We can't let the
here,
wizard. We can't show the wizards work.
Exactly, that's right. We're like the Wizard of Oz, whose drape has been pulled back here, you know. Just see the little tools we work with here. Let's see if...
So there's rapid refresh. I just want to
Yeah.
take it through tonight.
yeah,
and you
that's
can-
interesting, yeah.
Those are still
This is a
powerful
model
storms.
forecast right here.
Okay, here we go. We'll go back to.
Okay. Here we go. Now, right there. See
Wow.
that? Doesn't it look like there's, you know, an appendage hanging down there from that wall cloud?
It really does.
Kaboom, right there. Yeah, and you can almost see circulation in that.
Yeah.
We probably should have gotten 1 minute scans on that instead of our 5 minute scans. But wow. And you know what's interesting? Remember I told you that the way this normally works is you get that fast moving, heavy band of rain right there with strong winds right there. And then back behind it, this is where you have the air rising into the thunderstorm cloud. And that's where you get the circulation many times. There are exceptions. The derecho last year was one of them, where you get storms to spin up on the front end of it. But oftentimes, the strongest updrafts are on the rear, the backside of these thunderstorms. So that means you've gone through wind, rain, there could be hail, and then boom, it gets quiet for a little bit, and in comes the tornado. It doesn't always work that way, but that's often the kind of the sequence of events right there.
Now,
So-
Tom, we have some more video coming in. You guys, I didn't hear where that was coming from. This from Burlington. So this is live video. This is an area that well, live pictures. This is an area that we've kind of followed really closely. We thought that there were probably tornadoes there. I think there was one reported in Burlington, or a number.
Yeah, just to the west of Burlington.
Just to the
right?
west of. So it looks like power lines down there. Obviously, this is as far as our crew can get. There's gray skies, but at this time, you know, things have kind of cleared out. That area, I believe, is not under a tornado warning anymore.
I think it's just east of there.
It's
yes.
it's just east of there. But again, as we kind of said, Tom, as you kind of mentioned, beautiful landscape there, kind of a rural setting, which is, you know, I mean, with some of these tornadoes that we've seen, I mean, hopefully lots of folks weren't injured from these.
No, that's true.
But right in that area there.
By the way, Bill, I see on the lower screen here, we've got a severe
We
thunderstorm
do,
warning
yeah.
now.
That kind of eastern extension of that.
The northern Cook County and
right.
Evanston, Schiller Park.
Yeah,
That's
and
that cell we were watching.
I just heard from a friend who lives out in Elk Grove, and he says that the sirens are going off in Elk Grove. Now, they're not currently under a tornado warning, but somebody has obviously pulled the button out there,
Yeah.
possibly prematurely, but nonetheless, it's still an area of strong storms, and you need to, good idea to take cover.
And in fairness, many communities, the law enforcement in a community, and fire department, police personnel, and their own spotter teams are communicating with central communications facilities in these communities, and they can see something even before a warning is issued that leads the local folks to, the decision to sound the siren. So the fact there's not a warning up yet doesn't mean that somebody hasn't seen something that's suspicious to them, and that's the basis for turning on the sirens in some communities. So that can be done autonomously, not necessarily as a result of a direct warning. And by the way, it goes without saying, I don't think a lot of folks realize this, anytime you've got a thunderstorm watch or a thunderstorm warning, even though the probability of tornadoes is not high enough to dictate a tornado warning or a tornado watch, you should always, whenever you're talking about a severe thunderstorm, realize there's an outside chance that storm may spin up a tornado, even though there's not a formal warning. Look at that.
This is right over
There is a
O'Hare.
little couplet there.
Yeah.
This is directly over O'Hare.
Yeah.
By the way, confirmation that they're evacuating the tower at O'Hare Field right now.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Well, there it is, right there. And that's no doubt a prudent move. Wow.
I'll put it in motion so we can there you can see it. Green is coming toward the radar. Radar is going away.
Yeah.
And it's headed right to the tri-state.
Yeah.
We don't know if this is a tornado, but
Keep in mind, it's warm, it's humid here. This storm, these things pulse. It could be, it could intensify again.
well, I'll show you. Speaking of what you were saying there, if you follow this one that's moving right through Niles and Main Township and those areas,
Yeah.
it looked like it was weakening, kind of broke off. Maybe it's outflow, but kind of broke off. And now, as you get across the northern suburbs, Niles, Glenview, Des Plaines, Morton Grove, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning
But at any point-
until 8 p.m.
And just because it's a severe thunderstorm warning doesn't mean that you need to, that the storm isn't potentially severe, because in any one of these situations you could get a tornado to develop even in the midst of a severe thunderstorm warning. So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, and they're very clear on that. Tom, I point out here, if you look on the screen here, you're Princeton in Bureau County in the southwest corner of the screen.
Yes.
Just to make note that the Weather Service is keeping a close eye on this storm. It's got a history of producing a tornado. If the rotation holds together, then likely a tornado warning will need to be issued for LaSalle County as
Wow.
that storm approaches from the west.
Did you notice, too, on that radar, there's back building going on?
Yeah.
In other words, watch this. See the redevelopment that's going on in DeKalb County and out in Kane County?
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's anything severe there, but these cells right here.
Yeah.
When you get development westward like that, that's called back building. And so it shows that there's quite a degree of instability out there, and that the storms are developing to the west. And of course, that all figures into the rainfall. Look how these storms are moving and how the heaviest cells are oriented with the direction of movement. That's the phenomenon of training that we talk about, where you get incredible amounts of rain under these storms. You know how heavily the rain comes down in one thunderstorm. Take a whole set of storms and move them over the area one after another, and that's called training, and that's when you get your really incredible amounts of rain.
Yeah.
So that's something.
So our colleagues at the National Weather Service, as we just showed that cell approaching O'Hare, they may have to upgrade that to a tornado warning. They're monitoring it very closely as the rotation continues to strengthen on
This
that
is at
cell
O'Hare?
near O'Hare. Yes. So it's quite possible that an upgrade to a tornado warning may be imminent.
I'm gonna go
on
there
that
with
cell.
velocity,
We're going to go
Tom.
with
Let's
velocity.
see.
Yeah. Yeah, there's the couplet
Yeah, there it is.
right there.
Yeah.
So there's 294. Got the tri-state, and there's 90. And wow. So quite interesting.
What a that would be an
Oh.
amazing turn of events there.
Hey, at least we're through the heart of rush hour.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if this had been 2 hours earlier, not that you'd ever want any kind of circulation to develop over the tri-state, but you really worry about the number of people that were at risk right there. Interesting.
I'll pause it now, so you can make out the runways there, and you can see that this is directly over O'Hare Field.
Yeah, there it is.
Wide area. Well, let's see. It goes as far as rotation. I'd say it probably goes a couple miles, right?
Yeah.
4 miles. 4, 5, 6 miles across, so there may be a tornado in there. But you know what, Tom? This is what we've seen, though. We followed little couplets like this, and then 10, 20 minutes later, all the reports come. We've seen that in Sycamore. We've seen that in Burlington. This is a serious situation. So if you're in portions, I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to go back to just our normal Doppler here and zoom out. If you are in portions of northern Cook County, you got to be inside now. Evanston, Wilmette, Winnetka,
Elk Grove Village.
Elk Grove Village, all the way, you know, Maine's just barely
Maine
up in the-
Township?
Yeah, Maine Township.
How about Evanston?
Yeah, Evanston, those areas, right up along the split,
Lincolnshire.
near the split, especially where the Kennedy and the Eden split. This thing is coming through it. It means business, and it is. If that's a hook, Tom, that is that's the real deal.
Yeah. And you know, you remember a couple years back where that tornado touched down? It was a fall evening, I think a September evening, in 2008 or something. It was on the Loyola campus, right on the north end of the city, 3 blocks north of where Lakeshore Drive goes inland as Hollywood. And that tornado, they tracked the circulation from over Fermilab in Batavia right across the tri-state, right across O'Hare, and it finally set down a tornado right on the shoreline up on the Loyola campus on the north side of the city. So, you know, that can happen. No question about it.
That myth is not true. So here, so we're at 7:30, and no tornado warnings are in effect at this time. Severe thunderstorm warning for Cook County at 8 p.m. Severe thunderstorm warning for DuPage County.
And Demetrius, I just want to point out that, you know, they've issued another tornado warning just to the west of LaSalle. If we go to the radar here on Max 2 and show this area of storms, that's a pretty potent line down there. And it's quite likely that a tornado warning will need to be issued in parts of LaSalle County as those storms approach from the west.
And boy, isn't that, climatologically speaking, a tornado-rich area?
Absolutely.
No question about it. How many times have we been on the air with warnings down in the Ottawa area and Morris and areas like that?
Absolutely.
No question about it. Yeah.
So for the moment, we don't have any tornado warnings in our immediate area, but stay tuned, folks.
Yeah, we're watching what's happening at O'Hare and north suburbs. We're watching closely. We're watching.
We're watching LaSalle County potentially next.
Oh, this is
around Burlington. Okay, we already see some emergency crews out there. A lot of water. Wow, a lot of water. Because when you think about it, this storm moved through a moment ago, and there's still a lot of water. And let's see, they're just trying to kind of get to the scene there. You know,
by the way, Ray just poked his head outside. He said, light rain up here on the northwest side at this station. So that's interesting. We're up by a couple miles from Wrigley Field. So look at that.
I can't tell if power lines are down. I'm trying to see. It looks
Do you
like
see? It looked like there were trees snapped there, don't you think, Lourdes? Yeah. Lots of trees that have been snapped.
So that cell that's moving through the north suburbs now, severe thunderstorm warning for you. It's almost to the lake. Sometimes, you know, usually when we get right
All
here,
right,
I just wanna push
guys.
these things out.
We're okay.
Possible.
But we got to keep an eye on this storm because we're
kind of
supposed
look
to
at
get
how
another
significant
tornado
this
warning
is,
here shortly.
and how it just kind of sprouted
Not
up
sure how long it's going to
ahead of one
be,
that was
but
weakening.
I'm
Now we have
recording
two,
this
one
as
across
it
portions of
happens.
western DuPage
'cause-
County, one across, northern Cook
No, I'm
County.
just going to
Yeah,
record and
continuing
shut
to
off my
move to the
mic
south, so,
and
you know,
disable my
we're at
camera.
7:30, and they still haven't hit downtown yet.
Can we look
So
at
I'm
the,
going to keep
velocity
this,
again,
guys,
on that,
going.
Max 2.
Yeah.
And
We'll look at the, see
yeah,
whether we see
so we'll just
couplets
keep it
there.
going.
Ooh, see, there's a little one up there in northwest DuPage County,
Oh yeah.
and a little one up there, and there's another one north of Leiden Township there, and southeast of Elk Grove Village. Now these aren't the bright, brilliant colored ones that we saw, but on the other hand, look at this. That, you know, that's not a unrespected. That's a pretty
No.
respectable looking couplet right there.
I mean, as far as wind gusts, I mean,
Yeah. We're going to be going like that,
Yeah.
coming down like that. So implied is a counterclockwise circulation, at least at radar level, which would be a little above the ground. But you know, this is the kind of indication you get that you got a circulation going on there. Interesting.
And that's headed to the east I think they've all been going about 25 miles per hour. So it's
Yes.
going to the
Yeah.
east around that speed, 30 miles per hour. Headed to the east at 30 miles per hour. I zoom out here. Hey, Bill.
That woke us up.
Yeah,
Just
we're learning. We're learning about microphones and phones don't
exactly.
work at the same
That's
time.
right. I'll tell you. No question about it.
I'll take you back to a radar so you can kind of see what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, and here's this activity Bill was talking about that our colleagues at the Weather Service are watching. Boy, it's just interesting, isn't it? The storms keep popping up there.
Yeah.
You know, I noticed on our shot from our crew out there, looking at the damage, the skies did look pretty rainy up to, you know, just to the west and north of them. So there's still some downpours occurring up there.
Let's look at Doppler. Oh, there it
Yeah,
is.
look at that. See those threatening skies up north? Quite interesting. That's pretty country.
I was going to say that. That
I
is
know.
beautiful out there.
It really is. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. I grew up for many years in the Aurora area, and boy, it was fun just to get in the car and drive out into beautiful farm country and just follow the crop cycle out there. It was, it's quite a sight.